It all starts in a pet shop, where a pink-haired customer is totally outraged, thinking that the 3 million charged for a little pet is an absolute scam. Frustrated, she points out that a basic slime is worth 3,000 tops, questioning if the shopkeeper knows anything at all about beast taming. The MC Lu Yu stays super chill and claps back immediately, saying that this isn't just any regular pet. Holding the bouncy slime in his hand, he guarantees that 3 million is a fair price and that she'll leave totally satisfied with her purchase. The girl snaps back, annoyed that the creature is only at the awakening level, and with that kind of cash she could easily buy a star-level pet. Right then, the guy completely agrees with her statement without missing a beat. However, he confidently warns her that his slime is 1 billion times more powerful than those star-level beasts. Showing the creature's evolution projection, he explains it's a mutant pet with a devour talent, capable of breaking limits infinitely and even reaching the monarch level. Still on the defensive, the customer asks why she should buy this story without any proof. Totally unfazed, Lu Yu just suggests she'll find out as soon as she tests it. Suddenly, a blonde woman in high heels walks into the shop mocking the MC, asking if the young master of the Lu family is now surviving by running scams. With a snobby vibe, she sarcastically apologizes, reminding him that he was already kicked out of the family. With a serious face, the shopkeeper recognizes Bai Yue and asks what she's doing there. The ex-girlfriend replies with a smirk that she just came to check on the guy who doesn't even have the talent to tame beasts. Surprised by the tea, the customer realizes he actually runs a pet shop without having any talent for the field. Turning his attention back to the customer, the guy guarantees his lack of aptitude doesn't affect his ability to sell pets at all. Bai Yue keeps up the drama, suggesting that a useless person like him should just live a normal life after getting dumped. Watching the scene unfold, the pink-haired girl feels grossed out, commenting on how the blonde acts just like those classic, unbearable anime villains. Lu Yu advises the young girl not to stoop to the level of people who are naturally bitter and mean. Furious for being ignored, the blonde points her finger, calling him a scammer, but the girl fires back, saying she'll only know the truth after testing the slime. Wasting no time, the customer tosses some silver-level pet food to the little monster on the counter. In a flash, the creature fully absorbs the food, glowing with an intense bright light. The slime starts shining brightly while several blue arrows pop up, showing it's leveling up non-stop. Holding the radiant pet, the customer is shook to see its potential jump from rank 5 to rank 9, plus it learned a water-type skill. Watching it all go down, the ex-girlfriend's jaw drops, mumbling that this is completely impossible. Super relieved with the result, the pink-haired girl cheers that she didn't listen to the blonde's garbage. Hyped up, she tells the shopkeeper she brought her own pet food so he wouldn't charge an extra fee, and asks if the 3 million will be cash or card. With a satisfied smirk on her face, she quickly hands over her bank card to seal the deal. Right then, a holographic interface with an AI congratulates Lu Yu on the sale, unlocking a tamer slot and an SSS-level talent. The system breaks down that dark-type beasts get boosted stats, higher potential, and can even use a soul bond to speed up their growth. Wrapped in an intense red aura, the MC clenches his fists and celebrates finally getting his tamer talent back after so many years. His mind flashes back 12 years, showing the Lu family's massive, isolated mansion at night. Collapsed on the floor of a dark room, young Lu Yu stares at his aunt, terrified, asking what she's doing. Lu Yazhai, the current family head's wife, takes a threatening stance and sarcastically replies if it isn't obvious what's about to go down. With a wicked smile, she confesses she only raised a useless orphan like him because of his S-level dragon-type talent origin. The woman keeps glaring down at him, making it crystal clear that all that maternal care was nothing but a huge fake act. Grabbing the kid's head violently, she asks if he was really naive enough to think his parents passed away in an accident. With her face twisted by greed, she states his talent will help her son inherit the family legacy, and he should feel honored to be the sacrifice. Unable to defend himself, the boy lets out an agonizing scream while his life energy and talent are forcefully ripped away. Completely drained, the little guy collapses on the bedroom floor, broken and with zero strength to fight back. Turning her back on the kid, the aunt coldly decrees that without his talent origin, he can spend the rest of his life as absolute trash. Back in the present, the shopkeeper reflects among his shelves that he used to genuinely think he'd live forever as a nobody running this place. But he quickly remembers how things flipped, because on his 18th birthday he managed to awaken the mythical pet system. Surrounded by animal holograms, he explains he just needs to sell the system-generated pets to score talents, resources, and dope rewards. Looking at the modern display cases in his shop, he figures hitting these sales goals is the easiest thing in the world for someone already in the biz. With his eyes glowing with rage, the guy swears he's gonna pay back double every ounce of humiliation and torture he suffered at the hands of the Lu family. Interrupting his thoughts, the ex-girlfriend tries to talk the other customer out of falling for the shop's lies. Tired of the drama, the shopkeeper faces the girl head-on and warns her he's put up with her teasing for way too long. Feeling the vibe shift, the blonde backs up terrified and threatens to call the cops if he tries to lay a finger on her. With a look of pure disgust, he just orders the intruder to get out of his shop right this second. Stomping her foot, she refuses to leave and dares him to show another mutant pet, promising she'll buy it if he can actually pull it off. Right on cue, the AI chimes in saying he's one sale short this week to secure an SSS-level reward, advising him not to miss the chance. Creating a blue energy sphere in the palm of his hand, he decides to humor the challenge just to bag the system bonus. The interface displays the imposing silhouette of a dark creature wearing a cape and crown, called the Mutant Emperor Skeleton. However, what actually pops out on the counter is a tiny, harmless little skeleton wearing red boots, just standing there clueless. Feeling insulted, Bai Yue yells that she has a B-level tamer talent and won't fall for a trick with a piece of junk. Holding the little monster by the head, Lu Yu claims with the utmost chill that this is the authentic Emperor Skeleton. The girl crosses her arms and fires back that it's nothing more than the lowest-tier necromancer beast out there, with zero royal vibes. Flashing a mocking smirk, the MC guarantees that this little guy's talent defies the laws of the heavens. With a projection of a giant flaming skull popping up behind him, he reveals the skeleton can evolve endlessly by taking down enemies. The blonde points her finger in the MC's face, telling him to stop talking nonsense, since she's never heard of a pet with infinite growth. Annoyed by the circus act, Miss Shen stands up for the shop, calling the woman crazy for demanding a product and then not believing it when it's right in front of her. Keeping it professional, the guy tells the customer to let it go, saying not everyone has the good taste to recognize top-tier quality. Grabbing her phone, Bai Yue assumes the other girl is a hired actor for the scam and threatens to call a real expert to expose them. Immediately, she makes a call to Manager Yang, asking him to rush over to the pet shop by the school's west gate. A little while later, a huge transport truck pulls up to the entrance of the MC's humble shop. A suited guy in a lab coat walks in holding a glass box, mentally replaying the wild story about a rank 9 slime that devours resources. Miss Shen is still holding the little blue creature, which now clearly displays its absurdly high status panel for its level. As soon as she spots the guest, the ex-girlfriend waves excitedly to grab the expert's attention. Introducing himself as Yang Qing, the newcomer apologizes for spacing out and shows the beast the blonde had ordered. But the girl turns down the pet for now, calling the man over to analyze the supposed scam on Lu Yu's counter. Flexing the little fire lizard in the glass box as proof of superiority, she roasts the tiny skeleton stuck in a jar. Once he focuses on the tiny creature, the expert instantly notices there's something super weird radiating from that pet. Wanting to be absolutely sure, the manager activates his data eye skill, making his glasses glow with dozens of visual codes. The scan brings up a holographic window, confirming the skeleton has a special infinite growth talent based on eliminations. Shook by what he just saw, Yang Qing turns around and asks if the skeleton is for sale, ready to drop whatever cash it takes. Bai Yue is totally lost, and asks why a transcendent tamer would blow 3 million on an awakening rank piece of trash. Pointing at his own glasses, the expert states he trusts his data eye and that the creature has a limitless growth talent. Hearing this bomb drop, the ex-girlfriend is left totally speechless. Taking the chance, Shen Nianian tells her to zip it, reminding her the handsome manager wouldn't lie about something like this. Keeping a straight face, Yang Qing adds that he just checked and the girl's slime also has that same insane talent. So it wouldn't take long for that little creature to completely steamroll any tamer at the same level. Desperate for the opportunity, the suited guy practically begs Lu Yu to sell him the skeleton for the exact same 3 million. Sweating bullets, he figures this price is basically giving away a mutant monster for free. The MC just smiles, satisfied, and thanks him for the courtesy while smoothly closing the deal. Feeling played for a fool, the blonde points her finger, accusing the guy of setting the whole thing up just so he wouldn't have to sell her the beast. Keeping up her usual arrogant vibe, she demands he bring out another mutant pet immediately. With zero patience left, Lu Yu cuts her off, letting her know he's completely out of stock, especially for someone like her. Foaming at the mouth with rage, she calls him untalented trash and asks where all this ego came from after getting booted from the family. The vibe in the room gets heavy instantly, and the MC coldly reveals he's already gone through his second awakening. Just by feeling the crushing pressure in the air, Yang Qing panics, guessing the shopkeeper must have at least an S-rank talent. Since a max-level talent would draw away too much heat, the guy decides not to correct the expert's guess. Totally shell-shocked by the reveal, the ex-girlfriend drops to the floor, unable to believe something like this is real. Looking down at the girl, Lu Yu calmly states that nothing is impossible in the tamer world. Quickly changing her tune, she tries to take advantage of the guy's new status. Without an ounce of shame, she suggests giving him another chance to come crawling back to her. The MC doesn't even waste a second on her pathetic offer and just tells the intruder to get the heck out of his shop. Humiliated, the blonde calls her ex heartless and leaves, swearing payback. With the drama handled, the shopkeeper apologizes to his real customers and announces the place is closing up. Before leaving, Shen Nianian holds up her phone, all hyped, asking for the handsome manager's contact info. Not wanting to miss out, the suited guy also asks to swap numbers. Reading the room, the MC realizes the college freshman could bring in a bunch of new customers down the line. Likewise, keeping in touch with a big shot in the biz could lead to some solid partnerships. He quickly figures that with these two connections, he'll never have to stress about failing the system's sales missions again. Pretty stoked with how the day turned out, he holds out his phone so the duo can scan his code. With the shift over, the metal shutters of the pet shop finally roll down. The MC stretches, relieved, while the AI pops up to congratulate him on clearing the newbie mission. Hyped to see his reward, he tells the assistant to open the interface ASAP. But looking at the options on the blue screen, the guy asks why there are so few monsters listed. Finding out those were just the freebies, he immediately demands to see the paid list to find the good stuff. Swiping through the holograms, he trashes several beasts back-to-back for being too ugly or not matching his vibe. Trying to help out, the virtual assistant highlights 3 pretty menacing dark-type creatures on the screen. She suggests a hellhound focused on offense, but the guy shoots it down instantly, claiming some childhood trauma with dogs. So the AI broadens the system search and brings up a hologram of a little black dragon. Recognizing the creature's type right away, Lu Yu's eyes light up with interest. Without a second thought, he drops 600 points and confirms he's redeeming the World Destroyer Demon Dragon. A gigantic, intimidating beast spawns in the room, making the MC question if that thing is really just a baby. The assistant casually explains that dragon types are just born huge by default. Reading the floating status panel, the shopkeeper is blown away to see the monster's starting potential is Overlord class. This means the creature is already starting at a crazy high position in the beast power hierarchy. Super pumped, he reflects that even the strongest tamers in the country have sovereign rank beasts, and his very first pet is already almost there. Noticing his hype, the virtual girl asks if he's happy with the pick. Clenching his fists with determination, Lu Yu guarantees it's perfect and decides to start the soul contract right then and there. A complex magic circle appears in the air as the mystic connection between the tamer and the giant dragon is locked in. The interface confirms the bond was a success and lets him know he can already use his unique talent on the creature. Wasting no time, the guy raises his hand and channels a massive infusion of dark energy straight into his new buddy. The huge reptile absorbs the raw power and roars fiercely as black flames wrap around its body. Seconds later, the system drops an alert congratulating the tamer for pushing the monster to awakening level 10. Despite the fast progress, he quickly asks why the beast stopped evolving and couldn't break through to the next class. The assistant clears it up, saying the shopkeeper's current mental space can't handle that much power, forcing him to boost his own strength first. Understanding the roadblock, Lu Yu asks the system to shrink the giant dragon that's taking up basically the whole shop. Turned into a harmless mini version, the mascot bounces around the room while the owner comments on how this is way more practical. Far away in a college dorm, Shen Nianian skips in and calls her roommate to show off her new pet. The blue-haired girl panics when she sees the gooey creature and tells her to hide it fast to avoid drama. But the warning comes way too late, because the troublemaker blonde roommate is already walking in with her crew. Acting all bossy, the newcomer brings up the pink-haired freshman's promise to never bring ornamental pets into the room. The blue-haired friend tries to step in saying it was an accident, but gets completely shut down. Holding the slime tightly, Shen Nianian stands her ground, guaranteeing her little monster isn't breaking any dorm rules. Flexing her level 10 steel wolf, the blonde mocks her, asking if she seriously plans to make a contract with a piece of trash like that. Her followers join in on the roasting, questioning why a girl with an A-rank talent would do something so dumb. Ignoring the laughs, the freshman defends tooth and nail that her little blue pet is a mutant capable of devouring items to grow. The rival rolls her eyes and treats the explanation like a joke, claiming a creature like that would never make it past level 3. Keeping her confidence up, Shen Nianian reveals she already made the soul contract and that the little beast is currently at awakening level 9. Super worried about the whole thing, the blue-haired friend touches her shoulder, thinking the freshman got scammed by some hustler. Tired of being underestimated, she places the little monster on the counter, determined to shut them all up. Staring down the arrogant blonde, the slime's owner asks how much she blew on resources to feed her metal. Full of herself, the girl summons her fierce beast and brags that her high-level pet is worth every penny invested. Not backing down, Shen Nianian spawns a pile of floating blue crystals that cost the same insane amount in resources. In a matter of seconds, the hungry little jelly starts absorbing every single valuable stone. While the other girls watch the feast in shock, the blonde crosses her arms, scoffing that anyone can just waste money for nothing. The little blue monster starts spinning intensely inside a water whirlpool as it digests all the energy. The glow gets brighter, and the creature rapidly pushes to level 10 of the awakening rank. Blown away by the crazy progress, the blue-haired friend mutters in awe that the slime actually hit level 10. The rival's eyes go wide, totally stunned, unable to process what just happened. Full of confidence, Shen Nianian announces the evolution isn't over yet and tells the girls to keep watching. A massive energy radiates from the little pet, and its potential suddenly spikes to the starry sky rank. In pure denial, the blonde points her finger, claiming it's impossible for a basic slime to reach that level of potential. Annoyed by the situation, she challenges the freshman to a battle right outside the dorm. Out in the courtyard, the upperclassman points forward and orders her steel wolf to go all out. The metal beast howls menacingly as a red aura covers its entire body. Wasting no time, the monster lunges fiercely, claws ready to shred the tiny blue target. Right then, the slime claps back, launching a massive water blast that hits the opponent dead-on with a transcendent-level attack. Seeing her beast get completely crushed, the girl freezes, wondering how the heck that's even possible. She drops to her knees, completely devastated upon realizing that her precious steel wolf actually lost the fight. Staring down at the defeated upperclassman, Shen Nianian points out that this is the exact mutant pet she was trashing earlier. Playing nice, the slime owner says she won't hold a grudge over what happened, just to keep the peace in the room. Right after, the blue-haired roommate chases after her, desperate to know where she bought that insanely cool little monster. Things chill out, and the next day dawns sunny in the busy city. Walking down the street, a red-haired guy notices the shop and thinks it's weird a new pet store opened up around there. Stepping inside, he immediately spots a little sleeping dragon and thinks it'd be an awesome gift for his little sister. Mind made up, the customer points at the creature and asks the shopkeeper how much the little guy costs. The shopkeeper turns down the offer, explaining the beast is his contracted partner, but the guy insists, saying money ain't an issue. Keeping his cool vibe, Lu Yu apologizes and warns him again that the pet is absolutely not for sale. Annoyed by the rejection, the redhead changes his tune and threatens that his stubbornness is only gonna bring the seller trouble. Out of patience, he summons a black-feathered crow and orders his beast to teach the shop owner a good lesson. Watching the childish tantrum, the MC doesn't even flinch and calls the entitled customer an idiot. Sensing the threat, the little dragon wakes up instantly, releasing a dangerous red aura all around it. The intimidating presence hits the bird right in the face, making it panic and drop out of the air instantly. Because of the connection to his defeated pet, the redhead takes a heavy hit and coughs up blood. Super freaked out, the intruder backs away in disbelief, seeing his crow get crushed by just one look from that baby dragon. Once outside the shop, he tries to catch his breath, thinking about the absurd aura of that demonic dragon. He quickly realizes that not even the powerful Lu family owns a beast like that, and decides his best move is to dip right now. Back at the counter, the shopkeeper watches the coward run off and casually leans on the table. Looking totally bored, he complains that the fun ended way too fast. Meanwhile, at a big hospital nearby, the vibe is pretty chaotic. Walking down the clinic halls, the redhead grumbles, pissed off about dropping $5 million on medical bills over one single look. Distracted by the insane bill, he ends up bumping hard into someone and instantly curses the guy out. But the guy he bumped into is none other than Luo Tianyan, the young master of the Luo family, who fires back immediately. Terrified, Luo Zi recognizes his older brother and stammers, asking what he's doing there. The suited guy replies firmly that he came to find out who had the nerve to embarrass their family. Panicking, the younger brother waves his hands, warning that they definitely shouldn't mess with that kind of guy. Annoyed by his little brother's cowardice, the young master scoffs, asking if there's actually anyone their family can't handle. Trying to calm things down, the redhead explains the opponent is a tamer who contracted a rare demonic dragon. The news catches the suited guy off guard, making him question if a creature that dangerous even exists. The older brother crosses his arms and reflects that it's been years since someone capable of controlling a beast of that level popped up. Super curious about the story, the guy demands his little brother take him to this mystery tamer right away. The younger guy still hesitates, scared that not even his powerful brother could win a fight against that monster. Furious at how slow his brother is being, the older one smacks him in the back of the head and tells him they're just going to apologize. Relieved by the answer, the redhead lets out an awkward laugh, admitting only he would be dumb enough to pick a fight for no reason. As they walk, the young master figures the big families would never hide a tamer with that much talent. Even so, he suspects anyone able to control a beast like that must definitely have ties to the higher-ups. After walking a bit, the two finally reach the front of the humble pet shop, and the younger brother points at the door. As soon as they walk in, Lu Yu notices the movement and instantly figures the runner came back with backup. Without missing a beat, the suited guy grabs his brother and kicks him, sending him sprawling right in front of the shopkeeper. Face down on the floor, the guy follows orders and formally apologizes on behalf of his family for all the mess earlier. Stepping up, the young master hands over a fancy little box as a peace offering. He asks the MC to take pity on his little brother's ignorance and accept the gift as a genuine apology. The box pops open, revealing a platinum-level spatial taming crystal glowing brightly in his hands. Mesmerized by the gem, the shopkeeper mentally wonders what kind of background someone has to just hand over an item this valuable. He smiles, pretty pumped, since the crystal is exactly what he needed to expand his taming space. Taking the luxury box, Lu Yu downplays the whole thing, saying he wouldn't waste time fighting over stupid kid stuff. The guy in the suit checks out the seller's aura and guesses he just leveled up a realm, unlocking a new slot to contract pets. Admitting it, the young Luo mentions he also leveled up recently and managed to open a third taming slot. Glancing around, the suited guy purposely points to a specific corner, signaling a certain chicken locked in a cage. A little scarlet-flamed chick was just chilling behind bars next to a price tag showing a crazy high amount. The flashy sign made it crystal clear the little bird cost a whopping 3 million, a pretty steep price. Catching the hint, the customer doesn't hesitate and decides to buy the pet on the spot just to get on the shop owner's good side. The younger brother pulls his sleeve, trying to warn him that blowing a fortune on a useless bird is a massive waste of cash. Noticing the whispering right in front of him, the MC crosses his arms and asks if the duo thinks he's trying to scam them. The suited guy quickly denies it, making an excuse that he just didn't understand the caged pet's true potential. Changing his tone, Lu Yu kindly lets them know he only offered this rare beast because he saw how sincere their apology was. The little pet radiates a wave of intense fire, while the shopkeeper explains the creature can purify flames to evolve endlessly. The big reveal about the chick's powers leaves the young master totally stunned. To prove he wasn't just talking garbage, the seller suggests doing a live demo right there in the shop. Holding out his free hand, he summons a mysterious, icy blue flame dancing dangerously above his glove. Blown away by the demo, the young master realizes the little pet truly isn't scared of that freezing flame at all. Wasting no time, the shopkeeper tosses the mysterious blue fire straight into the bird's cage. The second the little guy absorbs the power, a massive, imposing projection of a mystical bird appears, glowing brightly above it. The suited guy is speechless, wondering how a basic scarlet chicken has the presence of a true flame emperor. Standing next to his brother, he bows respectfully to deeply thank him for the blessing. Always super chill, the MC just replies there's no need to be so grateful over a simple beast. Working up some nerve, the customer asks if the seller has any ties to the Lu family, famous for taming dragons. Hearing that name, the guy's face darkens instantly as bitter memories flood his mind. In a very cold tone, he shuts the topic down, stating he cut ties with those people a long time ago. Noticing the heavy reaction, Luo Tianyan figures the guy must hold a serious grudge against that powerful family. He decides not to push it and lets him know they're heading out of the shop. Finally alone, the shopkeeper holds the valuable spatial crystal excitedly and decides it's the perfect time to test the item. Focusing his energy, he enters his own taming space, which starts glowing all around him. A bright light expands, shattering the boundaries of the place, while the system alerts him the area just grew insanely large. Admiring how huge the new setting is, Lu Yu thinks about how using a pure item to level up is an incredible luxury. Turning around, he faces his imposing dark dragon and announces it's finally the monster's turn to evolve. In response, the creature lets out a deafening roar, releasing a heavy reddish aura all over its body. The AI pops up on the screen, detailing that the beast hit the transcendent tier and gained the power to annihilate souls. Wrapped in intense flames, the massive reptile shows off its new form with an even more menacing presence. Super happy with the result, the MC promises his pet that soon it will be able to chow down on real dragon meat. Time flies and the next morning kicks off chill on the busy city streets. Sunlight shines on the entrance of the young tamer's humble shop. Sitting in the office with his shrunken partner in his lap, he takes a call asking if the slime's training is going smoothly. On the other end of the line, Shen Nyanyan celebrates that her little pet hit level 10 with massive potential. Hyped up, she laughs and mentions that manager Yang even shut down his own clinic just so he could train his new skeleton. Far away in a local slaughterhouse, a bunch of chickens are going crazy, making a racket in the warehouse. The suited expert watches his little red-booted monster taking down the birds frantically, evolving non-stop from this daily grind. Impressed by the scene, the workers comment that the little guy wiped out thousands of chickens in record time. Happy with the progress, the manager stands up and tells the crew this will be their last day working there. One of the guys asks if he finally came to his senses, thinking it's a total waste for a tamer of his level to work in a place like that. Adjusting his glasses with a smirk, Yang Qing grabs a cleaver and clarifies that the new plan is to start taking down pigs. Holding a gold card, he explains he needs to eliminate these animals to score a special hunting license. He dreams of elite hunting grounds, packed with powerful monsters that would serve as the perfect food for his partner's infinite growth. With a projection of a giant skeleton laughing behind him, the tamer guarantees his pet is about to reach an insane level of power. After hearing this whole wild story, the shopkeeper hangs up, thinking the manager's evolution method is way too overkill. Despite the shock, he secretly agrees that using hunting grounds is the perfect strat to max out the pet's skills through sheer volume. Chilling in his chair, the guy figures that at this crazy pace, the man will soon become one of the strongest fighters in the city. Right then, a notification lights up his phone screen, letting him know his business partner just referred a new buyer to his shop. Pretty relieved with the news, the MC praises the move since he really needed to get some sales going today. Seconds later, Luo Tianyan texts saying he wants to bring his little sister to buy a monster, an invite he accepts on the spot. Enjoying the calm before the rush, he takes a sip of coffee while his scaly partner rests peacefully beside him. Petting the little guy's head, he asks for patience, promising that very soon he'll get enough space for its next evolution. The peaceful vibe gets interrupted when the front door swings open, revealing a tall dude with his brown hair tied back. Flashing a welcoming smile, the shopkeeper stands up to greet the guest, glad to see his business pulling in good results. The newcomer crosses his arms arrogantly, doubting a mediocre place like this could offer better products than his own influential family. Keeping it polite, the MC replies he doesn't like to brag, but his shop only deals in top-tier beasts. Annoyed by the audacity, Jiang Xiaorong snaps back instantly, saying it's an insult to call the junk from a hole in the wall like this luxury goods. The vibe at the counter gets ice cold, and the seller squares his shoulders, starting to lose whatever little patience he had left. With zero respect, the guy raises his voice, demanding to see the extraordinary creatures the place claims to have. Sighing out of boredom, Lu Yu holds out his hand and spawns a glowing energy cage right in the middle of the counter. The light fades, revealing a basic green goblin trapped inside, offered up as a great purchase option. With a serious tone, the shop owner starts explaining the mysterious perks of that little monster. But the suited guy slams his hand hard on the table and yells, furious, asking if this is just a sick joke to his face. Pointing his finger right in the guy's face, he throws it out there that he even thought about pitching the business to his bosses, but this is just trash. He then turns his back, swearing up and down that hell make sure the shop goes bankrupt in less than a week. Totally confused by this overly dramatic reaction, the MC raises his hand to try and reason with the stressed-out customer. At that exact moment, the sound of boots echoes, and a girl with reddish pigtails walks into the shop, calling out the guy's arrogance. Accompanied by the young master, the girl crosses her arms, mocking him and laughing at the fake prestige the manager tried to flex. Freaked out by the sudden arrival, the bully recognizes the duo instantly and asks what big shots like them are doing in a place like this. Sweating bullets, his eyes go wide as he terrifyingly figures this humble shop must have heavy financial backing from their powerful family. The coward shakes with fear, remembering his boss's business depends entirely on the good graces of the two people standing at the door. Not giving a single crap about the trembling dude, the youngest sibling walks right past him, oozing confidence. Right after, Luo Tianyan steps up and bows, greeting the shopkeeper super formally. Watching the scene, the girl's cheeks turn red as she gets mesmerized, noticing how handsome and young the seller is. Still frozen in the corner, the intruder can barely believe the proud young master just called some random guy senior. Trying to explain himself, the guy opens his mouth, but instantly gets roasted by the heir who tells him to shut his trap. Desperate from getting shut down, the arrogant dude drops to his knees on the floor, whining that his whole life is over because he pissed off the wrong people. Dropping the drama, the guy focuses on the counter and politely introduces his adorable little sister to the MC. The seller nods, giving a friendly smile to try and make the new buyer feel more at home. However, his face quickly falls as he remembers he desperately needs to lock in the cash to fund his dragon's next evolution. Noticing the obvious worry on his face, the suited guy asks if the bad mood is because the beast on the counter got rejected. To win brownie points with the master, he doesn't think twice and states with absolute conviction that he's going to buy that goblin. Outraged by the sheer stupidity, Luo Jingjing scolds her brother, asking how he has the nerve to throw money away without even knowing what the pet does. The older brother puffs out his chest, guaranteeing he blindly trusts any merchandise sold here, leaving the MC totally awkward. Coughing to hide the cringe, the shopkeeper points at the pet and lets them know he's going to explain everything properly before closing the deal. Showing off the little green monster up close, the shopkeeper breaks down that it gains aptitude and strength by breeding and having offspring. Super chill, he adds that the stronger the creature itself gets, the higher the chances of producing a top-tier bloodline. With this endless loop, Lu Yu guarantees the siblings that very soon the buyer will have an insanely powerful race on their hands. Hearing the pitch, Luo Tianyan is blown away, realizing the golden opportunity he almost let slip by. Without a second thought, the young master leans over the counter and begs the seller to close the deal with his family right away. Trying to justify his desperation, the suited guy points out that the three great dragon-taming families are only powerful because of that specific species. Then he calculates that the goblin's breeding speed matches a dragon's, which would secure his family's rise to the top. The MC keeps his cool and just asks if it makes any difference to him who he sells the beast to. But he drops a warning that the tamer needs to make the contract with the little creature immediately, asking if the client already has someone in mind. Looking at the green monster striking a pose with a flower, Luo Jingjing feels grossed out, imagining how weird it would be for a girl to contract with that thing. Straightening up, the suited guy confidently states he already has the perfect candidate to take the new pet. The guy explains it's the illegitimate son of the former leader, whose mom was secretly executed by the official wife. Since he was the one who gave the kid a chance to return to the Luo family, the young master is absolutely certain the guy would never betray him. Outside the shop, the arrogant dude eavesdrops on the tea and panics, thinking he just heard a massive secret. Sweating cold, he quickly figures that if the big shots are talking about this so openly in front of him, the worst is yet to come. Spotting the nosy guy nearby, the young master shoots a deadly, threatening glare in his direction. Trying to save his own skin, the gossip fakes a meltdown and screams, asking why he suddenly lost his vision. Keeping up the act, he covers his ears crying about being blind and deaf, while the suited guy weighs whether he should just end him right there. Sparing the poor guy's life, the heir turns around and warns him in a dark tone to consider today's events a little lesson. In a vicious tone, he tells the intruder to get lost and keep his mouth shut, promising severe consequences if any rumors leak. The coward immediately salutes, guaranteeing he got the message loud and clear, and that from this day forward he considers himself mute. Watching the act, the shopkeeper comments that the guy's quick thinking is the only thing that saved his life. Breaking the tension, the little sister tugs at the suited guy's sleeve, demanding that if a subordinate got a powerful pet, she deserves one too. Pouting, the girl stomps her foot, insisting she leave with an insanely strong pet as well. To calm her down, the guy promises the seller will find something way more suited for her, claiming that goblin is nothing. Hyped up, Luo Jingjing gets super excited just imagining there are even better creatures in the shop. Switching targets, she quickly turns to the MC, acting all charming, and calls him manager. Leaning in, the customer sweetly asks if he happens to have the absolute perfect pet for her situation. Showing off her ice-focused talent, she creates a blue aura and demands an ice-type pet just as good as her brother's chicken. Totally chill about the high-maintenance request, Lu Yu nods and says he has exactly what she's looking for. Holding out his hand, the seller summons a soft blue light and states the next item will be a flawless match for her talent. A fancy gold cage pops up on the counter, revealing an adorable, harmless ice fox just chilling inside. Hypnotized by how cute the pet is, the girl asks if the little animal can refine mystic ice to get stronger. The MC praises the customer's smarts and confirms the fox can evolve infinitely by absorbing that element. Wanting to prove the product's quality, he suggests the buyer test it out herself using her own energy. Super hyped, the girl brings her hand close to the cage, offering a bit of her icy power straight to the pet. The pet eagerly absorbs the skill, getting a light blue tint on its white fur while looking incredibly happy. Blown away by the results, the young girl instantly asks for the price, blurting out she'd drop tens of millions on the spot without a complaint. Not exploiting the situation, the shopkeeper kindly lets her know the price is still the same 3 million per pet. Holding the cage, the little sister cheers while her brother bows, thanking him for the help and saying he's transferring the cash. Happy with the day's sales, Lu Yu relaxes and says no problem, wrapping up an awesome deal with the dude. Suddenly, the little black dragon jumps onto the counter and lets out a fierce roar, warning its owner of danger. The sudden warning grabs everyone's attention in the shop, and they all snap their heads to try and figure out what's going down outside. A heavy gust of wind sweeps the entrance of the humble shop, a clear sign something dangerous just landed nearby. The MC's face drops instantly as he recognizes the heavy aura of a giant dragon approaching the spot. Knowing exactly where that unwanted visit came from, the guy mocks the situation, realizing the Lu family finally decided to make a move. Somewhere else, the scene cuts to a massive, luxurious estate surrounded by huge, perfectly manicured gardens. Chilling in the middle of the courtyard, an enormous scarlet dragon rests peacefully under the sunlight. On the mansion's balcony, the wicked aunt sips her tea in peace while a subordinate walks up, asking for permission to speak. Holding her teacup, the bossy woman reminds him she gave clear orders to track the moves of that bastard Lu Yu. On top of that, she emphasizes the goon should be focusing on finding the money the kid's parents hid away back in the day. Slamming the cup hard onto the saucer, the snobby woman loses her patience, asking how the guy still has 0 leads after all these years. Dropping to his knees, the guy announces he found a new problem involving the kid, immediately getting the green light to share the news. Without stalling, the subordinate reveals her nephew didn't just get his tamer talent back, but also signed a contract with a black dragon. Hearing the report, the woman stands up and slams the table violently, completely in disbelief at the intel. Foaming at the mouth, she screams, demanding to know how that trash is taming beasts again when his talent was forcefully ripped out as a kid. Wrapped in a dark aura, the villainess coldly decrees the boy has become a real threat and can't be allowed to live anymore. Accepting the hit job without a second thought, the kneeling subordinate just says he fully understands his new mission. Back to the present in the shop, the holographic system pops up, congratulating the MC for hitting the milestone of 5 pets sold. Wrapping up the alert, the virtual assistant says the reward for this milestone is a random max-level SSS talent. Focusing on the floating holographic screen, the system shows a glowing button asking if the tamer wants to claim the prize now. The guy gets super hyped, thinking it's insanely broken to score a second SSS-level talent this fast. Wasting no time, he taps the virtual screen and confirms redeeming the secret reward generated by the AI. Instantly, a purple aura explodes from the MC as the system announces the awakening of the god-slaying celestial fire. Caught off guard by the power explosion, the young master drops to his knees, unable to handle the pressure, with his sister falling right behind him. Drenched in sweat, the heir gulps, trying to figure out if the shopkeeper just awakened a new fire talent. Suffering under that crushing force, he figures not even an S-rank tamer could give off such an oppressive presence. Boiling with purple flames, the seller asks, totally clueless, why the customers are kneeling while the suited guy suspects an SSS-Rank. The pigtail girl is still sprawled on the floor, gripping her cage tightly, while her brother tries to catch his breath on his knees. Hiding his panic, the guy makes up a lame excuse that his legs just gave out of nowhere, which is why he can't stand. Yanking his little sister by the arm, he stumbles out, saying it's getting late and they won't hold up business any longer. Blushing, the customer pouts and whines, saying she wanted to hang out and keep the shopkeeper company a bit longer. The suited guy completely ignores the tantrum and drags the crying girl out of there as fast as possible, running from the terrifying aura. Peace briefly returns to the humble shop with the hurried exit of the day's 2 biggest buyers. However, a green dragon lands roughly in front of the shop while its rider yells, ordering Lu Yu to come out and meet his maker. Staring at the door, Lu Yu comments there's a path to heaven the invader ignored, choosing instead to kick down the door to the underworld. From atop his mount, Lu Heng snaps back that the kid's tone is way too cocky, regretting he showed mercy by sparing his life back in the day. With a dead serious look, the young shopkeeper states he survived and became a tamer for the sole purpose of avenging all the humiliation he endured. Suddenly, the MC's mind flashes back in time, remembering the massive, dark family estate on a freezing night. On his knees, little Lu Yu begs desperately for his uncle Lu Du to save him from the patriarch, who's planning to steal his talent. With zero pity, the man kicks him away. Staring down at the fallen kid, Lu Du coldly states that having his talent noticed by the boss and sacrificing himself for the young master is a massive honor. The little guy refuses to accept it. Right then, a violent stomp hits his back, making the boy groan in pain under the heavy shoe on the dark floor. Sitting on her fancy throne, his aunt glares down at him and asks with pure disgust if she ever gave him permission to leave. Crying from the pain, the kid screams that the talent belongs to him alone, and none of them have the right to steal his power. But the man steps up and coldly fires back that this choice was never up to a piece of useless trash like him. Holding her teacup, the woman coldly orders the goon to start the brutal extraction process without leaving a trace. Showing all his cruelty, the executioner confirms the order and starts channeling his dark skill onto the defenseless kid. Right after, he stomps down violently on the kid's hand, making him let out a scream of pure agony from the brutal impact. Down and bleeding heavily, little Lu Yu begs one more time for them to stop this cruel torture immediately. Pressing his shoe down even harder, the man complains, annoyed that all the kid's screaming is just getting on his nerves. A desperate scream of pure pain echoes through the mansion's quiet halls as the cruel process is finally finished. Back in the present, Lu Heng scoffs at the kid's reveal, asking what difference it makes that he managed to awaken as a tamer. The MC claps back with pure disgust, asking who the Lu family and Lu Heng think they are to try and dictate his destiny. Absolutely furious at the disrespect, the opponent rages that some random piece of trash shouldn't have the guts to talk to him like that. The little dragon roars, pissed off. In a sarcastic tone, the rival mentions it's hilarious a loser actually managed to seal a contract with a dragon creature. Looking at the small reptile, he mocks it, saying the baby looks like it was forced to fight before it even hit adulthood. And because of that, it won't be able to handle a single attack from his powerful wind dragon. Wasting no time, the opponent orders his massive beast to launch a devastating hurricane at the place. The huge green reptile roars loudly and fires a devastating blast of cutting wind straight at the humble shop. Staying totally chill in the middle of the gale, the shopkeeper stands his ground while holding his scaly little partner in his arms. But the heavy wind fades out without doing any damage. Shocked by the defense, the enemy tries to play it cool, claiming a young level 10 awakening dragon is nothing against him. A massive explosion of red flames eats up the air, leaving the rival shook seeing his attack completely wiped out. In the middle of the fire, the MC's eyes glow intensely, while his dark dragon's presence starts expanding in the courtyard. The guy asks if that's all he's got. The imposing silhouette of the dark beast materializes above them, and the young man concludes the invader just chose to perish right there. The demonic dragon lets out a monstrous roar that makes the whole street shake under the insane pressure of its hostile vibe. Feeling the crushing pressure, the opponent starts sweating bullets, terrified, wondering what kind of absurd monster is standing in front of him. Desperate, he tries to calm himself down, remembering his wind dragon is level 10 star rank, meaning there's no way he could lose. But the hero fires back with disdain, saying a beast in that tier isn't even enough for a light snack for his dark partner. Raising his left hand, he pops his special skill, summoning a dragon domain that paints the whole battlefield red. With that, dark chains tightly lock down the enemy mount. Terrified by what he's seeing, Lu Heng panics, asking how a random tamer could possibly manifest a dragon domain. The MC explains that this mystic territory is an exclusive power only the purest and most demonic bloodlines can master. In a super taunting tone, he drops the bomb that, unluckily for his rival, his beast belongs exactly to the feared demon dragon species, making it the ultimate apex predator that hunts and feasts on the biggest, most powerful mystic creatures around. The colossal dark monster charges fiercely, firing a destructive red energy beam at the helpless wind dragon. As the devastating beam hits, the enemy watches the imminent destruction in horror, unable to even throw up a defense. The green dragon roars in pure agony as it takes the overpowering attack head-on, completely shattering its wind barrier. The massive mount drops out of the sky, heavily injured, crashing violently into the middle of the street along with its proud rider. The impact totals the ground around them. Down and too weak to get up, the rival mumbles in utter confusion about how he got folded so humiliatingly by this kid. Bloody and broken, the invader tries to crawl away, hoping to escape the MC's ruthless fury. But Lu Yu closes the gap fast and stomps brutally on his hand, making the opponent let out a desperate scream of pain. Glaring down at his prey with pure mockery, the shopkeeper asks how it feels to get crushed by the guy he called trash. He grinds his foot even harder into the rival's fingers, revealing he's been eagerly waiting for this payback for years. Crying in terror, Lu Heng begs for his life, throwing out a fake plea about the supposed care he showed when looking after him as a kid. The guy replies with a sarcastic laugh, asking if a routine of abuse and torture can seriously be called care. Leaning in to look his victim dead in the eyes, he coldly orders the man to pay very close attention to what he's about to witness. The dragon lunges with its jaws wide open. With zero mercy, the dark monster bites down and starts devouring the wind dragon, tearing the creature apart without giving it a single chance to escape. The poor creature lets out one last weak whimper of agony as it's completely swallowed by the apex predator's hungry jaws. Watching his soul partner die, the opponent screams in despair, sobbing as he sees his precious beast get eaten alive. Completely broken, he crawls, begging for forgiveness, swearing he'll do whatever the kid wants if he just spares his life. The shopkeeper glares at him with pure disgust. Keeping an ice-cold tone, the shopkeeper declares the only fitting fate for a traitor is to repent straight in the underworld. The massive demonic dragon posts up right behind the surrendered enemy, ready to deliver the final blow on its master's command. In a flash, the monster's claw comes down on the executioner from his past. Petting the side of his imposing partner's snout, the guy praises it for a job well done taking out that family threat. The holographic assistant pops up on a blue screen, congratulating the tamer for an epic win against the Lu family opponent. Right after, the virtual AI hands over the mission reward, revealing he scored an ultra-rare red star-class resource. The item floats in the air, revealing itself as the Demon Heart, which holds all the knowledge hoarded by an ancient, powerful Dark Lord. It's capable of boosting a contracted beast's Dark-type skills straight to the max red star level. Casually pointing to the side, the assistant lets him know there are still more updates and perks lined up for him. Like the fact he hit 900 points and finally earned the chance to seal a contract with a second beast. With his eyes gleaming with hype, the MC thinks about the insane chance to expand his monster squad even more. Focusing power in his hand, he remembers his new talent is the god-slaying celestial fire, and decides to use it for his next pick. With his mind made up, the MC doesn't hesitate and focuses on the exact option shown on the virtual interface. Wasting no time, the guy taps the holographic confirm button to redeem his brand new magical creature. A massive portal starts forming in the middle of the room, immediately swirling with insanely intense purple energy. From the center of that vortex emerges a majestic flaming bird with colorful feathers that instantly lights up the whole place. The shopkeeper stares at the imposing bird, while the system interface lists the massive raw power stats it packs. Blown away by the force radiating from the newly arrived pet, the guy comments in awe that its aura is just too op. The majestic creature spreads its wings, unleashing a blinding bright light, proving it's a sacred spiritual-level mystic beast at Tier 1. The shop owner quickly thinks about the country's ancient guardian beasts that hold that exact crazy power ranking. He remembers that in the whole massive world, there are only 6 immortal monsters with that kind of power protecting the nations. Wrapped in fiery energy on his hand, Lu Yu guarantees his pet will grow non-stop and easily outclass the divine dragon guarding the country. Hyped about this destructive potential, he quickly activates a glowing magic circle to lock in the official contract with the bird. The mystic bird lets out a loud cry toward the shop's ceiling, locking in the unbreakable spiritual bond with its new master. Right then, the guy snaps out of his deep thoughts, remembering a practical living detail that almost slipped his mind. He shrinks the flying pet down and sighs in relief, figuring it'll be way easier and more practical to carry his new buddy around now. Admiring his 2 partners side by side, he realizes the strength of these major monsters puts him just one step away from getting his payback. Shifting his full attention to his dark partner, he calls out loud to his massive, world-destroying demon dragon. In a super friendly tone, the shopkeeper gently asks the big guy not to be stingy with the fragile new team member. The scaly beast growls heavily at the bird, but the owner promises to buy bloodline upgrades as soon as he hits the shop's new sales goals. The little bird on his shoulder lets out a soft chirp, trying to interact after noticing all that loud, angry fuss from its reptile buddy. With zero fear, the tiny bird takes flight and gently hovers straight toward the massive, dark creature. The intimidating monster locks its big red eyes onto the silhouette of the mysterious little bird flying closer. Slowly, the winged pet hits the brakes and lands super gently right on the dangerous snout of the giant beast. In that exact moment, the big guy's heart of stone melts completely from the pure charm of his tiny flying buddy. Totally defeated by the cuteness, the dragon starts acting all soft and love-struck, waving its arms in the air in a goofy dance. The guy watches the silly scene and jokes to himself that charming beauty can corrupt and distract even the most ruthless monster. With the lovey-dovey distraction set, the guy hyped up tells his dark pet that he saved an awesome gift just for him. Holding a glowing, pulsing item in his hands, the seller breaks down that eating the gem will make the reptile shatter old limits and level up crazy fast. Not thinking twice about the offer he couldn't refuse, the dragon lunges desperately and aggressively to snatch the juicy magic snack. The massive monster swallows the red crystal in one quick gulp, opening its sharp fangs super wide. But it ends up choking terribly on the gem, getting it stuck hard in its throat in a clumsy, suffocating mess. Freaked out by the rush, the tamer tells the dragon to chill out since the gem radiates a really tyrannical, dark energy. The reptile groans in pain, pointing at its throat, instantly getting scolded that eating like a maniac would cause terrible indigestion. In a much more patient and warm tone, the master tells the monster to stop thrashing and promises help with the heavy absorption process. Boiling with a massive blue flame aura taking over his own body, the guy uses pure spiritual strength to refine the raw essence of the item. The great beast roars loudly, feeling the violent burn of mystic currents rushing through every part of its giant dark body. After a massive effort, the painful spiritual process is finally done, and the animal gets the green light to freely digest all the power. Immediately, the dragon lets out a deafening roar of pure destructive darkness, shattering old limiters as it exhales massive red energy. The holographic partner pops up smiling brightly right after to give well-deserved props for the pet's insanely successful evolution. The blue-haired AI girl enthusiastically confirms that all the dangerous creature's supreme skills have been flawlessly upgraded. With its giant glowing crimson eyes activated, the beast hits the highly coveted Red Star class, securing insane defenses against mental attack. Completely cocky thanks to its new boundless, absurd strength, the big dark guy thinks he's untouchable and demands the tiny purple bird submit. Right after the goofy flex, the imposing beast totally drops its dangerous guard and rubs its huge snout against its owner's side. Acting all needy like a spoiled puppy, the big monster praises the heart's amazing taste and begs, starving, for the master to get way more of that snack. Annoyed by the impossible, unrealistic request, the human asks, shocked, if the beast lost its mind thinking an ultra-rare treasure is a cheap snack. After putting up with all that massive yelling and chaos inside his own shop, the seller flashes a proud smile, feeling fully ready for the future. Staring closely at the nasty pool of blood left on the wet asphalt, the young tamer crosses his arms, complaining about the headache it'll be to clean that up. Through a quick phone call, he downplays the whole battle, claiming he just made a little mess by the door and asks for immediate help hosing it down. Very shortly after that call, a respectful, well-dressed crew from the Luo family arrives at the grim alley, agreeing to handle the modest cleanup. The suited Luo Tianian steps ahead of the group and stares dead at the massive, disturbing red stain covering the whole street. Totally shook and sweating bullets from the obvious carnage laid out, the young master wonders how the hell the shopkeeper had the nerve to call a massacre a little mess. Kneeling bravely right next to the bloody part, the heir inspects the deep wind blade marks and guesses a massive wyvern met its maker right there. Lost in thought over this terrifying clue on the ground, the guy remembers that only the unbearable Lu family owns tamed reptiles of that scary caliber in the city. Leaving the creepy alley behind, the rich guy reflects, fascinated, that the humble shopkeeper won a tough battle by being insanely superior to his enemies. Keeping very calm thanks to his brand new business partner's incredible dominance, the guy tasks the silent guards with simply bagging the dirty remains. In just a few minutes, the narrow public street is completely sanitized with heavy water and high-tech machines, covering up the fact a fight went down there. Serene peace reigns absolute far away from the bloody alley, with sunlight lighting up the green garden of the flawless, grand estate of the wealthy Luo family. As soon as the powerful young leader walks up to his huge house, a cautious servant anxiously warns him that his little sister woke up furious. Running frantically across the concrete of the inner courtyard, Luo Jingjing screams in frustration, insulting her older brother's crazy choices from a distance. Super indignant about the news she got, the teen crosses her arms, accusing him of wasting tons of premium resources to buff creatures like green goblins. Tapping her little foot impatiently, the young sister logically argues that investing heavily in a terrible species with an awful breeding rate is pure suicide. Maintaining his serene, untouchable elegance, Luo Tianian firmly disagrees, teaching her that this rare goblin race can breed and form a massive clan. With the huge flame of ambition burning in his fixed stare, the guy vows that in the future, he'll take over the empire using that endless horde of breeding monsters as an eternal foundation. Ignoring the complex logistics strategy, the girl huffs and insists that priorities can't change by ditching the training of the fluffy little fox. The businessman flashes a warm, genuine smile, patting the top of his angry sister's head, letting her know he actually funded super heavy double upgrades. Right at that promising, revealing moment, a serious uniformed worker walks up carrying the promised, highly anticipated prize in a large, sturdy, fully sealed case. Super agitated and eager to check out the purchased treasures, the teen steps forward, impatiently demanding the girl hand the box over to her. When the latches click and the luxury lid finally leans back, the little sister holds her breath in awe, staring at the blinding, outrageously expensive collection. Obsessed with the mystic splendor radiating from the flawless extreme crystals lined up, the girl jumps for pure joy, swearing sisterly love and devotion for her next life. Totally cutting that sweet wild hype off at the root, the man bluntly states that the stored fortune belongs solely as an exclusive gift for the veteran shopkeeper. Outraged by the tragic, bitter injustice of playing messenger pigeon with zero reward, the girl whines and swears verbal revenge on the seller himself. Back straight at the clean storefront of Lu Yu's low-key shop, the air feels quiet again, letting the shiny sign reflect beautifully on the tough, thick glass. Walking alone across the clean sidewalk in front of the mysterious shop, the designated girl pauses her steps, just thinking over the heir's grand, confident words. Hugging the huge locked chest tight to her chest in fear, she mentally insists with a nagging doubt that the whole thing smells like total item market insanity. Vivid memories of her brother embracing an old deal flash undeniably, focusing on the heavy confession where he admitted hitting his head on the absolute worst power ceiling. Showing pure pride for the risky path drawn out all at once, the head of the house perfectly concluded that breaking the thick chains and reaching the supreme level was just a matter of days. Arriving at the humble shop street, total hype takes over the Luo family girl, who plans to build a solid relationship with the shopkeeper to try and hit the overlord rank. Wasting no time, she pushes the glass door hard and immediately announces her arrival to the veteran. Holding the open chest, the girl offers the rare extreme fire and ice items as a small token of gratitude from her family. The MC is surprised by the gift, mentioning her brother had already helped with the cleanup yesterday and he didn't even get a chance to say thanks. Brushing off the favor, the girl guarantees it was no trouble at all, and emphasizes that the beasts sold there are infinitely more valuable than those ores. The guy gets thoughtful, wondering if the monsters bought from the system really pack such a ridiculous punch. But soon enough, he agrees to keep the box and lets her know he won't be rude and turn down the offer. Super pumped that he accepted, the customer says goodbye, telling him he can ask for anything he needs in the future. Right after he's alone, the shopkeeper grabs the red fire crystal from the chest to check it out up close. Admiring the rare gem in the middle of his shop, he figures that material is perfect to feed his emperor bird. With a quick gesture, he summons his little purple feathered bird, which appears in the air flapping its tiny wings. With the mystic stone glowing in his palm, he offers the crystal, asking the little pet to test out its power. The mascot lets out a happy chirp and intensely starts absorbing all the fiery energy radiating from the item. Completely focused on the process, Lu Yu is blown away realizing the creature managed to level up directly. A colossal purple aura wraps the bird, which lets out a piercing screech as its body expands and evolves rapidly. The virtual assistant pops up instantly to congratulate the master, noting the emperor bird shattered multiple barriers all at once. The holographic panel shows the pet learned the true body skill and had its fire power boosted to an insane degree. Watching the majestic bird fly around the room, the owner concludes, very satisfied, that pets bought with points are infinitely better than the free ones. Far away, the academic routine flows smoothly through the large, bright hallways of the Beast Tamer University. Inside the spacious auditorium, Professor Liu tells the class that in her lesson, they just need to remember that strength rules above everything. As an advanced Dark Moon Tamer, the woman intimidatingly asks which student in there is confident in their own strength. Always keeping a strict posture, she invites a volunteer up to the stage to help with a practical demo of the subject. Chaos takes over the bleachers, with a bunch of guys frantically raising their hands to show off their silver and gold level monsters. To heat things up, the teacher clarifies with a smile that participating definitely involves a real pet battle. Right then, the shopkeeper appears sitting among the students and purposefully points to two specific classmates for the duel. Caught off guard by being picked, the dark blue-haired girl shrinks into her chair asking if he was serious. On the other side of the room, a spiky-haired guy crosses his arms, radiating extremely arrogant confidence. Gossip quickly starts among the other students, who recognize the student Du Royan as a promising support tamer. The other pick is Yan Xiaopeng, famous for forming a contract with a werewolf purely focused on violent damage. Completely terrified by the situation, the support girl gulps, predicting she'll easily get crushed without being able to defend herself. Worried about her friend, Shen Nyan whispers that her butterfly is gonna get massacred and tells her roommate to make up an excuse to dodge the duel. With a confident smile, the girl offers to take the fight for her in exchange for some compliments. Without a second thought, Du Royan grabs her roommate, being super dramatic, and begs for salvation, calling the girl the strongest of them all. Ready for a brawl, Nyan gets out of her chair, guaranteeing that handling this little problem will be a piece of cake. The guys are amazed seeing the switch up, totally charmed by the young girl's beauty and guts. Walking down the auditorium stairs, the student explains to the teacher that her friend only focuses on support and asks permission to fight in her place. The woman agrees to the sub on the spot, thinking the move is totally fair to keep the duel balanced. She then turns her head and asks if the arrogant guy accepts the new opponent, but he just answers that it doesn't make the slightest difference. With a sadistic look, Yan Xiaopeng guarantees the result will always be his victory, no matter who the opponent is. Posted up on stage, the girl wastes no time and summons her little blue slime, which appears bouncing on the floor. The crowd is in shock seeing the gooey creature, judging it's crazy to use garbage like that against a transcendent-level beast. Even the professor confirms the student's choice, asking if she's absolutely sure she's gonna use that little monster in combat. Playing the tough guy, the opponent warns up front that life and death in an arena are decided by fate. He squeezes his hands tight and threatens he won't pay a dime in compensation when he crushes her pet. The classmates in the stands are shook by the guy's audacity to talk like that to such a popular girl. Keeping an eye on everything from the bleachers, the shopkeeper smiles and tells the other students not to underestimate that slime's power. The support girl doubts it, thinking the beast has a super low power ceiling, but Lu Yu just tells her to pay attention to the fight. Down in the arena, the arrogant guy says he's gonna give his classmate a free lesson to learn not to disrespect a tamer's true power. With an evil laugh, he calls the whole situation a joke and warns that talking time is over. Fueled by his own rage, he summons his massive werewolf wielding a terrifying jagged blade. The canine beast lets out a powerful roar, releasing a thick red aura across the whole hall. On the flip side, the little blue monster does a few innocent hops next to its owner, showing zero fear. The two tamers stare each other down with total confidence as the pre-battle tension hits its peak. Ready for combat, the werewolf takes an attack stance, growling fiercely at its tiny target. Weapon in hand, the monster sprints at top speed across the arena floor, focused entirely on slicing up the opponent. Unfazed by the aggressive rush, Shen Nianian gives a smirk radiating absolute. She snaps her fingers, ordering a blue silk defense, instantly creating a super thick water shield around her partner. The opponent mocks the defense, thinking it's just a pathetic gold-level skill, and orders his beast to attack full force. The wolf leaps high, channeling a massive amount of scarlet energy into the sword, certain the opponent has no way to dodge their end. With a brutal move, the monster brings its giant blade down in a devastating vertical strike straight at the blue blob. A storm of red slashes slams into the water shield head-on, trying to shred the little monster at all costs. In the stands, part of the class starts thinking the slime is impressive for tanking the pressure, while others downplay the feat. Suddenly, the werewolf gets violently thrown back, letting out a yelp of pain as it completely loses its balance. Still blinded by his own ego, Yan Xiaopeng smiles, thinking that simple water barrier could never trap his beast. However, the students in the crowd instantly notice the canine monster started coughing up an insane amount of blood. Squeezed by thick mystic water chains, the wolf suffers severe internal damage and keeps bleeding non-stop. Unable to handle the counterattack's pressure, the werewolf collapses in defeat on the floor, whining in pain in front of everyone. The arrogant tamer's eyes go wide, completely horrified, unable to understand how his powerful partner went down like that. Letting out a cute little giggle, Shen Nianian sarcastically asks if the big guy is fully convinced of his defeat yet. Panicking over the result, the guy repeats to himself that losing to a piece of trash like that is completely impossible. Totally broken by the humiliation, he drops to his knees on stage and pulls his own hair in a fit of pure despair. Holding her beloved gooey pet, the girl gives a speech to the auditorium that the tamer world is made of infinite possibilities. Next to the smiling shopkeeper, the girl proudly adds that one day even her little slime will be able to beat down a giant dragon. Hyped by the insane plot twist and the motivational speech, the students in the crowd jump out of their seats. The crowd goes wild, praising the campus goddess and begging her to spill the nutrition secrets that made the pet so strong. Super relieved the fight is over, Du Royan runs toward Shen Nianian calling for her friend. She hugs the girl tight, confessing she always knew the win was already locked in. Dripping with confidence, the winner smiles, guaranteeing that handling that duel was the easiest thing in the world. Down on the stage floor, Yan Xiaopeng shakes his knocked-out werewolf, screaming at the beast to wake up. Seeing the guy's desperation, the support girl walks up, offering help to heal the injured monster. Kinda awkward from the humiliation he just went through, the tamer thanks her for the favor and apologizes for all the trouble. Watching the scene, the slime owner crosses her arms, letting him know her friend's treatment costs a fortune and he lucked out big time. Du Royan downplays the situation, kindly reminding him that everyone there is a classmate. Focused on the job, the student summons her beautiful white moon butterfly and casts a powerful healing light. The bright energy fully wraps the werewolf, instantly healing the animal's severe wounds. Shook by the recovery speed, the pet's owner marvels, guessing that must be a gold-rank skill. Professor Liu analyzes the healer pet closely, suspecting the creature has a hollow moon-level potential. Super intrigued by the discovery, she wonders to herself how this is possible since that species was totally extinct. Clearing up the confusion, the student reveals her partner is actually just a green cotton insect that managed to evolve. The teacher is stunned by the intel, instantly concluding some high-level expert must have helped with this crazy mutation. Interested in the story, the woman asks the student to swing by her office as soon as class is over. Turning her attention back to the class, the professor uses the day's 2 wild cases to prove that beast taming holds infinite possibilities. The support girl fully agrees with the lesson being taught. Keeping a firm stance, the educator points out these impressive results only happen through top-tier nutrition. She starts explaining that thousands of years ago, there was a mysterious civilization that took taming and breeding to the absolute peak. Shen Nianian listens to the explanation, pretty surprised, wanting to know more about this topic. The professor details the ancient legend of a class called Creator, capable of turning a useless fish into a massive, true dragon. Blown away by the tale, the friend mutters that this whole turning into a dragon thing is a huge exaggeration. Excited by the topic, the slime owner invites her classmate to attend history classes and hear more about these legends. In a regretful tone, the woman explains the profession demanded ridiculous talent and was completely lost to time. Putting the pieces together, Du Royan suspects the mystery shopkeeper might be one of those legendary creators. Professor Liu overhears the gossip and instantly gets interested in this so-called seller. Shen Nianian explains the evolved pets came exactly from the shop run by that guy. Figuring he's the expert behind the mutations, the woman decides she needs to pay a visit to the place immediately. A luxury car speeds through the busy city streets, heading straight to the MC's humble shop. The professor gets out of the vehicle, straightening her posture in front of the business. Staring at the small storefront, she confirms the address of the mysterious mythical beast shop. Taking off her sunglasses with style, the woman murmurs that she finally found the right place. Meanwhile, inside, Lu Yu praises his imperial bird's insane level-ups and swears that one day he'll be stronger than her. The educator walks through the front door, politely asking if the manager is around. Sensing a stranger's presence, the little purple-feathered bird releases a very intense killer aura across the room. Pushed down by an invisible crushing weight, the customer freezes entirely, unable to move a single muscle in her body. The MC quickly calms his little pet and apologizes for the scare, explaining the mascot still hasn't learned how to control its new powers. Relieved the pressure stopped, the woman reflects in shock that this absurd aura is actually a natural talent of the creature. Keeping it professional, she formally introduces herself as an official instructor from the Grand Beast Tamer University. In a very friendly tone, she guesses the guy in front of her can only be the famous manager Lu. The seller mentions her two students highly praise the shop's creatures, but tries to stay humble, saying his beasts aren't the most formidable out there. Without stalling, the instructor cuts to the chase and asks if he secretly works as an ancient mythical creator. The shopkeeper is caught completely off guard by the question and repeats the term, not getting what she's getting at. Playing along, the guy gives a smirk, stating that if the woman believes it, then he really might be one. Checking his own virtual interface, he notices the system has a creator module and concludes using this legendary title will be great for business. The customer blinks, confused by the seller's cryptic answer, not understanding a single thing he meant. Sighing in frustration, she accepts that a secret of that level would never be spilled so easily to a total stranger. Lu Yu changes the subject, asking if the instructor has already contracted her fourth beast, or if she came looking for a pup with him. Pumped for the chance to make a profit, he quickly realizes he has a high-value deal right in front of him. With his usual salesman charm, he asks her to break down exactly the type of creature she's after. The professor reveals her special talent gives a heavy buff to dragon-type beings, and that's why she wants to contract one of that species. Surprised by the requirement, the shopkeeper asks if she has any direct ties to one of the three big families specializing in those monsters. The woman gulps, hesitating a bit before answering such a personal question. Painful memories from the past hit her, remembering the day a man claimed her direct bloodline was a disgrace because of her low-level talent. The guy humiliated her, comparing her power to the genius heirs of the other rival families, calling her useless trash. Shaking off the bad memories, the instructor crosses her arms, guaranteeing her family tree has nothing to do with the purchase. The MC scratches his head, realizing he just walked into some heavy rich family drama. Being super honest, he apologizes and lets her know his current stock doesn't have any beasts with a dragon bloodline up for sale. But then he quickly places a small glass aquarium on the counter, confidently claiming he has a true dragon. Annoyed by the audacity, Liu Luoshan tells him not to lie, since the powerful families completely monopolized the major scaly species. Summoning his world destroyer demon dragon pup, the guy swears his business runs on pure integrity, and that thing is just a snack. The instructor is shook, recognizing the dark creature with immeasurable strength just chilling in the room like that. Capitalizing on her surprise, the young man points to the container, demanding the customer take a good look at his premium merchandise. Super curious about what could be trapped inside, the woman steps closer, questioning the existence of a sacred monster in a simple jar. But once her eyes focus through the glass, all she sees is a basic red carp swimming in the water. Feeling played, she drops the professional act and yells furiously, asking if he grabbed a midnight snack to try and sell as a pet. Foaming at the mouth over the joke, the customer demands to know if the seller just mixed up shelves or if he's mocking her. The shopkeeper holds the tank, acting like it's the most normal thing in the world, and guarantees he grabbed the exact right item. With zero patience for games, she points out this type of common fish costs peanuts at any street market in town. Very calmly, the guy smiles and fires back, asking if she's ever heard the legend about the fish that leaped the mystic gate. The woman recalls ancient tales about any low-tier aquatic creature gaining absurd powers and turning into a dragon upon crossing that divine obstacle. The MC claps, praising the customer's vast knowledge, fitting for a true academy instructor. Still skeptical, she crosses her arms, arguing the legend is useless because the famous portal vanished from the world millennia ago. Holding the squirming fish, Lu Yu plays his final card, asking what her reaction would be if he proved that carp can build the sacred gate all by itself. Faced with Lu Yu's proposal, Professor Liu Luoshan is shocked by the sheer boldness and thinks the whole thing is a massive joke. Holding the fish, Lu Yu says he doesn't force sales and tells her to take her business elsewhere, but she panics and says she wants to buy. Wasting no time, the customer reaches out and grabs the jar with the little red fish straight from the guy's hands. Upon locking in the soul contract, the interface confirms the fish has the talent to jump the gate and obtain dragon blood. Feeling the strong spiritual bond form, the professor cheers when she realizes the mutant carp legend is real. Super hyped, the customer laughs and comments this mutation is the most insane thing she's ever seen. Then she bows slightly and admits she acted really arrogant in the shop a few minutes ago. Showing deep respect for the young creator, the woman bows even lower as an apology. With a blushing face over the situation, Lu Yu looks away and mumbles that he didn't see anything at all. Recovering her posture, the professor faces the guy and asks if he could do her one more favor. She explains she has spare clothes in her car trunk and asks the shopkeeper to fetch them for her. The guy runs out to help the customer, promising he'll bring the package in the blink of an eye. On the way, he pictures a goofy TV trope where he gets arrested for harassment over a misunderstanding with the customer. Once outside, Lu Yu is thankful he ran fast, avoiding scaring her and having the cops called on him. He pops the trunk of her luxury car, finds the bag, and figures that must be the right package. Bag in hand, the shopkeeper jogs back into the business to hand over the clothes super quick. Moments later, Lu Yu is seen chilling in his office chair while waiting for the customer to chain. Now wearing her fresh outfit, the professor walks up to the counter and politely thanks the guy for his help. Brushing the favor off, Lu Yu asks if she's already figured out how she's going to feed the crimson carp. Thinking it over, the woman remembers her other 3 monsters are metal, water, and wind types. So she decides she wants to test a totally new attribute for her brand new mutant carp. Holding her hand over the counter, the instructor chooses to use a glowing lightning-type crystal. She tosses the purple energy stone right into the tank where the red fish is swimming. The little pet consumes the item instantly, making a bunch of electricity sparks pop in the water. Suddenly, a massive, majestic purple portal spawns in the room, proving the Dragon Gate legend is legit. Feeling the spiritual pressure in the room, the little dragon on Lu Yu's shoulder wakes up and lets out an angry. Calmly, the hero pets the mascot's head to chill it out and tells it to stay quiet. Worried about the dark beast's sudden reaction, the woman asks if something went wrong. The shopkeeper ensures everything is fine and tells her to focus, getting a shy, docile nod in return. Together, they watch the massive lightning portal that keeps radiating terrifying magical energy. A violent explosion of lightning strikes the sacred gate, making the structure glow even brighter. Lu Yu gives a heads up that the portal is stable, and evolution will trigger as soon as the carp jumps through it. Pointing at the big tank, the professor energetically orders the fish to go for the jump. Following its owner's command, the red carp starts swimming rapidly toward the top. The little fish leaps out of the tank wrapped in a massive, protective water bubble. Floating high across the room, the bubble carrying the creature approaches the lightning-covered gate. Multiple electric shocks start hitting the water barrier, slowing its progress down. Freaked out by the sudden stop, the customer asks why it stalled, and the guy guarantees the plan won't fail. He explains the portal was spawned by the pet's talent, and she needs to help it out with her own power. Seeing the professor summon dragon wings for the buff, the shopkeeper admits he underestimated her big time. Channeling an intense healing light in her hands, she hypes up the little fish to give its all to cross over. With the energy buff, the bubble launches full force straight into the purple clouds of the gate. The carp spins at top speed inside a mystic water whirlpool, glowing intensely. Keeping her voice steady, the master orders her little partner to cross the barrier without hesitating. Passing through the gate, the fish starts undergoing an insane mutation, gaining flames and wings in the process. The fish bursts through glowing in golden flames, and the master celebrates that the crossing was a total success. Feeling a strong magical burn, she's shocked to realize her tamer talent is evolving. Lu Yu clarifies that the pet successfully turning into a dragon ended up boosting the master's spiritual strength. The reveal leaves the professor completely shook, not knowing how to react to the power-up. Suddenly, massive orange wings sprout from her back, making the woman gasp in shock. A long, red-scaled dragon materializes in the air, revealing itself as an authentic lightning dragon. The immense beast floats behind her, while the system shows the new partner has monarch potential. Looking at the monster, the professor notes it's really strong, but not exactly a giant dragon type. The guy explains honestly that the beast belongs to the flood dragon bloodline. Gesturing with his hands, he details there are the giant lizard factions and the flood snake factions. She concludes that if she manages to evolve her partner to overlord, it'll finally be a pure dragon. With greedy eyes and surrounded by money, the shopkeeper charges 5 million for the pet and asks how she's paying. Paying the bill quickly via phone, she decides to run out of there before the guy reconsiders the cheap price. Saying a friendly goodbye to the seller, she says she's heading out and opens the door to leave. Alone, Lu Yu notices the little dragon roaring and asks if it also wants to evolve after seeing the gate. A projection of ancient dragons pops up on the screen, while the system explains the gate soaked up their essence. With a focused stare, the little partner lets out an evolution roar, awakening new skills. The blue panel alerts that the beast hit the star class and upgraded its sacred powers to red star level. Checking out the dope stats on the screen, the shopkeeper gives a satisfied smile over his buddy's progress. As night falls over the city, the moonlight shines on the facade of a massive residential mansion. Chilling on the couch, the professor comments how the day felt like a dream after contracting the dragon. Hearing footsteps in the hall, the resident goes on alert, wondering who would knock on her door this late. Opening the door, she finds her respectable white-haired advisor and asks what's up. The old man smiles kindly and asks if he ended up interrupting the young professor's rest. Saying it's no bother, she politely steps aside and invites her dear master to come inside. Getting comfortable in the living room, the master asks how the first day of class went and if there's any news. She replies it went great and reveals she discovered 2 huge prodigies that need special attention. Intrigued by the report, the old man says he wants to hear more details about the freshmen who managed to impress her. The young woman explains that freshmen Shen Ninian and Du Royan have beasts with infinite mutation potential. The advisor's eyes go wide in pure shock hearing about creatures with such rare evolution talents. The university director states that any tamer with a partner holding that talent will have a bright future and become the country's great salvation. With that, Liu Luoshan confesses she also bought a creature from that shop, which used to be a common carp and now has insane overlord potential. Then the old man's eyes pop, and he lets out a gasp of surprise hearing about the absurd level of that pet. Right after, he grabs her shoulders and begs her to show him the monster immediately so he can see it with his own eyes. With that, the professor holds out her hands and summons her powerful lightning dragon to appear in the living room. The immense beast materializes in the air, glowing with intense flames and sporting a super threatening glow. Faced with the creature, the advisor is mesmerized, commenting that flood dragons should have only been in the dragon realm a long time ago. But he quickly asks if all these monsters with such broken talents were bought from the exact same pet shop. She confirms it and points out the prices charged are extremely low, suggesting the shopkeeper is trying to create a generation of genius tamers. The old man gets lost in thought over the wild reveal, mumbling he can barely believe a place like that exists. Using the chance, the professor asks if he believes a max-level tamer could pop up in their era. The advisor answers seriously that right now there's no one in the world with that kind of power. But he sadly recalls that the past tamer civilization was wiped out exactly by the hands of a max-level warrior. So the rise of another warrior with that immense power could end up being a massive blessing or a terrible disaster. Faced with this doubt, Liu Luoshan hesitates on whether she should spill the whole truth about that mystery shopkeeper's real strength. Terrified the government might treat the shopkeeper as a threat and lock the kid up, she decides to keep it a secret to avoid the worst. Instead, she suggests sending trusted young tamers to buy from the shop, acting as a friendly way to test the waters. And also as a subtle test that will help keep a good relationship with the mysterious beast seller. The dean rubs his chin and agrees with the idea, deciding to take the professor's advice. The next day, the famous Mythical beast shop sign shines under the sunlight on the busy street. Inside, Lu Yu looks at the blue system screen and gets hyped about the reward promised for acquiring his first commercial spot. Looking at his saved-up cash, the guy realizes buying the place is gonna be the easiest task in the world. He calls the landlord, letting him know he's the tenant, and offers 17 million to buy the spot outright. But on the other end of the line, Mr. Jiang rejects the offer, claiming it's too low, and tells the kid to hold on. The shopkeeper checks the market and notices his offer already way exceeds what other shops in the neighborhood are going for. On the phone, the greedy landlord smiles, thinking the kid is desperate, and plans to squeeze even more cash out of him. Brushing the topic off with disdain, he tells the guy to shut up and hangs up, promising to head over in person. The young man hangs up, outraged by the lazy dude's boundless greed. Meanwhile, 2 guys dressed in sharp clothes are walking down the sidewalk toward the pet shop. The blonde looks at the simple storefront and asks if this humble spot is really the place their grandpa recommended. The silver-haired brother claps back that true sages hide in simplicity, and a real master doesn't care about luxury. Once they walk in, Liu Yu greets them with a friendly vibe and asks if the duo needs any help in the shop. The blonde asks to speak directly to the manager, explaining they came to buy some powerful beast pups. Introducing himself calmly, the MC reveals he's the sole guy running the place. The clients are shocked seeing the guy is so young, admitting they thought he was just a student helper. The silver-haired guy explains they're the academy dean's grandsons, but sadly they only awakened super weak talents. Showing a lot of interest, the seller asks them to reveal what their skills actually are. The blonde shares he has an accelerated growth talent, while his brother says he can give tearing attacks to pets. Liu Yu crosses his arms and explains that the fast growth skill is perfect for spawning a massive army of creatures. The blonde gets hyped remembering the legends about tamers who used literal swarms to wipe out any enemy army. For the silver-haired brother, the guy points out his talent requires a partner with destructive and explosive physical strength. The client sighs, saying he also agrees with the strat, but could never find any beast suited for it. Without stalling, the shopkeeper slams 2 empty glass jars on the counter with a quick snap. He points to the containers and invites the duo to take a good look at the creature options available. The blonde peers closely through the glass with a confused look, unable to figure out what's inside. Disappointed, the blonde asks where the promised monster pups are to build his big combat army. The silver-haired brother agrees with the complaint, pointing at the jars that look totally empty on the table. Then the shopkeeper just points his finger and tells the duo to look way closer at the bottom of the glass jars. Curious, the 2 guys lean in and get their faces close to the counter to try and see the contents. The blonde lets out a gasp of surprise when he notices the supposedly extraordinary beast is actually just a tiny ant. While the silver-haired brother mocks the bug's size, the other asks if the little critters have some secret quality. The MC flashes a mysterious smile and explains both ants awakened a limitless evolution skill. They can turn into any creature they plan for, as long as they have the right growth path in hand. He holds out his hands, showing the evolution routes he already mapped out for the new owners to use. The brothers touch the jars and feel a mystic energy spark, revealing the pet's immense growth potential. Super happy, the blonde cheers seeing his ant can become a queen capable of spawning armies of legendary monsters. The silver-haired guy is amazed, noticing his partner can evolve into the feared heaven-destroying ant. Incredibly grateful for the chance, the 2 bow to Lu Yu and thank him endlessly for the help. The shopkeeper just asks them to take really good care of the creatures, saying their evolution is his biggest payoff. He turns around looking at the system map, plotting to build a network of strong allies that will shock the world in the future. Suddenly, the MC's phone starts buzzing like crazy on his office desk. He grabs the device and answers the call to find out who's messing with his shift. Mr. Jiang yells on the other end, saying he's already at the entrance, and orders the kid to run out and greet him. Without any rush, the young man tells the guy to just walk in, letting him know he's waiting for him right there at the counter. The landlord loses it on the sidewalk, screaming if the kid lost his mind that he doesn't want to close the deal. But the shopkeeper replies coldly, warning him he won't repeat the command, and tells the owner to walk in on his own. The fat dude stomps in, complaining that he already dug into the kid's past before sealing the sale agreement, pointing out that he's just a student who failed the exams and didn't even become a real tamer. Waving his hands in anger, the guy takes long strides down the aisle of the small magic pet shop. The silver-haired guy steps in front of the invader with a serious look and warns that he's going to personally take over buying the place. Flashing an arrogant smirk, Mr. Jiang announces the price for the shop is now 30 million coins. The blonde gets pissed at the ripoff price and yells, calling the owner a greedy pig for charging double market value. Crossing his arms, the man sneers, saying it's his business and he can charge whatever insane price he feels like. He lets out a snobby laugh and tells the kids to get the hell out if they don't have the cash on them. Furious at the fat guy's nerve, the silver-haired brother steps up and asks who gave him permission to insult manager Lu like that. With that, the silver-haired brother joins the MC and asks for permission to deal with that entitled fatty once and for all. Staying calm, Lu Yu just recommends they handle the situation without making too much noise so they don't bother the neighbors. Then the kid calls out loud for Uncle Chen, making a tall buff guy in a suit instantly appear at the shop entrance. Unfazed, the fat owner crosses his arms and brags about being a trained fighter that nobody there can beat. Suddenly, the muscular bodyguard pops up right behind the fat guy and grabs his shoulder tight, leaving the invader terrified. At that moment, Uncle Chen turns to his young master and asks how they should treat this entitled dude. With a dead serious look, the heir orders him to teach the fat guy a good lesson so he learns to respect people from now on. The strong security guard just nods, showing he perfectly understood his young boss's command. Desperate, the fat guy tries to break out of the violent grip and yells, threatening that he has highly powerful backers in the city. Laughing at the weak threat, the blonde asks if the invader has ever heard of the influential and feared Duan family. Hearing that prestigious name, the fat guy panics, realizing he messed with the strongest tamer bloodline in the country. The other brother confirms the info with superiority, making it crystal clear the fat guy has zero chance of getting out of this. Wasting no more time, the young master orders the guard to drag the blackmailer away to settle the score in the street. Being dragged out of the shop, the man cries and begs on his knees for them to spare his life and forgive his huge mistake. Finally, the client offers to help Lu Yu buy the commercial spot for free, and the shopkeeper gladly accepts the brother's favor. While watching the street traffic, Lu Yu's phone buzzes with a text saying the shop's transfer contract is all set. Reading the message sent by the Duan family, he confirms the fat guy agreed to sign the property over to his name completely free of charge. Right then, the system assistant pops up celebrating the guy's achievement for securing his first commercial property. A beautiful blue star-shaped gem spawns floating in front of the guy as the grand secret reward unlocked by the system. The AI explains the realm crystal core is the most valuable item on the planet, capable of creating a new spiritual world. Super hyped about the news, the shopkeeper comments that tamers who own this legendary space gain strength comparable to demigods. The virtual assistant lets him know he can already start refining the crystal core to expand his beast taming area. With that, the guy unleashes a massive blue energy that wraps the floating gem in a perfect cube of light in the middle of the room. A huge explosion of light consumes the place, leaving everything in absolute silence while the space completely resets itself. Amazed by the futuristic vibe, the young man spreads his arms, feeling that this whole new area is packed with insane power. In a flash, the gray scenery morphs into a beautiful green plain with flowers and trees under a clear blue sky. A deafening roar echoes through the new world as the demon dragon appears, flexing its massive scaly body in the middle of the field. The blue panel confirms the dark beast managed to break through its old limits and hit the third tier of the star class. Right after, the emperor bird also starts glowing brightly with purple flames and pushes to the second star level. Wrapping up the rank up, the assistant congratulates the hero on the new, powerful red star rank skills the pets learned. The holographic screen details the dragon's new skill, which can summon a mystic domain capable of crushing any opponent. Clenching his fist with joy, the shopkeeper gets hyped seeing the limitless growth potential his first partner has. Next, the interface shows the specs of the imperial bird's attack, capable of calling down eternal flames from the sky to the ground. Flashing a confident smile, the guy concludes the power of that fire rivals the most destructive forbidden spells in the world. The two powerful beasts pose imposingly right behind their master in the middle of the quiet shop, ready for any command. Suddenly, the MC's look turns serious, as he senses a very mysterious presence approaching the entrance of his shop. He turns slowly toward the door, watching an elderly silhouette walking in slowly, leaning on a wooden cane. As the light hits the visitor's face, Dean Duan Xiangyu introduces himself politely, greeting the young soul. With a quick gesture, the guy recalls his two winged partners and asks in a friendly tone what brings him such an honorable visit. Thinking silently, Lu Yu figures the old man comes in peace, since he sent his own grandsons to buy pups there the day before. But the shopkeeper keeps his guard up, wondering what the Academy Dean's real endgame is for showing up. Looking at the guy, the visitor analyzes his eyes and senses a dark intent far more terrifying than any demon king's. But the old man notices the young guy's outer vibe is extremely docile, totally clashing with that oppressive hidden energy. He mentally concludes he needs to win over this mystery, experts trust to keep the country protected at all costs. Taking the lead, the dean mentions he came for a serious talk, and the seller asks if the old man also wants to buy a pet. With a sigh, the dean reveals that years of intense battles destroyed his taming space, blocking him from making any new contracts. The MC is totally confused and asks who came up with the lie that a broken area stops new beasts from coming in. Surprised by the question, the old man points out this is an absolute truth taught in every school textbook across the country. Super intrigued by the kid's confidence, the visitor adjusts his glasses and asks if the young master really knows a fix for this. Flashing a friendly smile, the shopkeeper calmly guarantees that fixing a broken space is an incredibly simple issue to solve. With that, he creates an energy portal and pulls out a tiny glass box with a green sprout, asking the guest to check the item out. The guy holds out his hand, offering the glowing little object, leaving the experienced dean pretty curious about this mysterious novelty. Looking closely at what's inside, the old man is completely stumped, unable to decipher the true nature of that little plant. The seller explains it's a common leafy tree seed, basically the lowest level plant-type monster out there. Continuing the pitch, the young man reveals the sprout has a rare ability to graft any evolutionary path into its bloodline. Showing the projection, the shopkeeper brings up a blue screen to present the exclusive evolution route he designed for that seed. The old man watches the hologram display the common plant's transformation until it becomes the legendary giant tree that suppresses the void. Breaking down the details, the guy guarantees this massive mystic tree will be able to stabilize and rebuild the dean's broken area. He finishes up saying all the visitors' problems and fears will vanish completely once the creature's evolution is done. But the old man lowers his head sadly, thanking the seller's huge kindness while turning down the offer of help in a bummed-out tone. The dean keeps walking through the shop and states firmly he has no plans to contract with another creature for the rest of his life. The shopkeeper is surprised by the sudden decision and asks the reason for such heavy resistance against accepting a new combat partner. In his head, the guy grumbles, pissed off that he wasted his precious time drawing up a flawless evolution route just to get rejected. The old man explains that over several decades, he personally sent every single one of his 9 partners into the worst battlefields in the world. He laments sadly that forcing an animal to fight and suffer for humanity is an act of extreme cruelty he doesn't wish to repeat. Looking at the green sprout, the veteran suggests an item with such solid potential should be handed to young tamers just starting out. Deep in thought, the MC admits to himself he normally would have kicked out any annoying customer by now, but he has mad respect for the dean. He recalls all the legends about the massive sacrifices the old man made to protect the homeland during the great crisis that wrecked the country. With that, memories of the past show the terrible era when interdimensional portals ripped open, bringing hordes of giant monsters. Being the weakest nation among the major powers, Xia territory ended up taking the heaviest hit from the dark creatures' invasion. On the brink of total annihilation, the government acted fast and set up 9 defense lines to try and stall the enemy advance on the battlefield. In just 3 years, the first barrier fell, followed by the second and third, leaving the territory totally exposed to the invasion. In that critical moment for national survival, every tamer in the country answered the draft to fight on the worst battlefield. As the nation's highest-ranking general, Duan Xiangguo took direct command of the troops and signed a contract with 9 sovereign beasts. However, every single one of his 9 monsters died protecting the homeland, shattering his taming area due to the pain of losing the soul packs. In the middle of that completely broken taming space, the old man's last pet drops dead onto the cracked ground. Because of that, Duan Xiangguo's majestic lion spent decades guarding the university, never able to return to its master's destroyed home. Watching the old national hero suffer, Lu Yu reflects that he can't just ignore such deep sadness and decides to help somehow. So the young man calms the visitor, saying he shouldn't carry this guilt alone, since the pressure on the front lines was just too heavy. Lamenting the painful past, Duan Xiangguo remembers the battlefield was a literal death trap where he simply got lucky to survive. But he sadly recalls that the names of so many other war buddies who sacrificed themselves ended up completely forgotten by the people. Staring right at the customer, Lu Yu seriously points out that the real reason behind all this built-up pain and regret boils down to just one thing. With that, the dean adjusts his glasses, curious to find out what this big reason is. The shopkeeper answers straight up that he simply wasn't strong enough to change destiny, and adds that if Duan Xiangguo had the power to make the enemies tremble, no lives would have had to be sacrificed. Shook by the harsh truth, the old man reflects that he maxed out his talent after hitting the 10th level of the sovereign rank, with 0 chance to advance. However, the MC reveals that using a void giant tree seed in the broken space will make any future evolution ridiculously easy, and that the mystic plant will be able to pull energy directly from the void to continuously expand his entire taming area. Hearing the bold plan, Duan Xiangguo realizes he'll finally have the power he needs to protect everyone he loves from now on. With that, he admits his old age made his vision way less clear than the young shopkeeper's. Faced with the incredible offer, the dean asks the shopkeeper to name the seed's price, fully decided to make the purchase. Holding the glowing box, Lu Yu announces the rare item's price will be exactly 3 million. Right then, the virtual assistant pops up on the interface, congratulating the guy for hitting the 10 pet sales mark in the shop. The AI says the reward for this goal is a brand new max-level talent called Divine Font of Life, and explains this supreme life-type power can cure any pain, disease, or even reverse the tamer's own demise. Taking the advice, Duan Xiangguo plans to evolve the seed before locking in the final contract with his new partner. He places the mystic seed on the counter to kick off the process. With that, the old man pours a glowing liquid over the item and orders the evolution to start. A massive explosion of green energy fills the room as Duan Xiangguo channels all his strength into the seed. The scene shifts straight to the taming space, showing a floating volcanic terrain covered in deep cracks. Suddenly, the glowing seed drops right onto the ruined soil of the old man's spiritual area. The sprout hits the cracked ground, shooting out small beams of green energy. Huge roots start sprouting and violently spread through every fissure in the terrain. A colossal tree spawns in the spot, hitting the 10th level of sovereign rank power with all its mystic might. Watching the crazy fast growth, the dean is amazed to see his new partner evolved with such speed. Reaching out toward the glowing magic circle, Duan Xiangguo triggers the final contract with the giant tree. Thick green branches keep expanding, spreading life energy to every corner of that broken world. The plant's immense power fully wraps the volcanic terrain in a glowing cocoon of pure spiritual force. With that, the entire taming space regenerates and expands into a beautiful, living plain under the dean's command. Crying out of pure emotion, the old man celebrates having his spiritual area fully fixed after so many years of suffering. The MC gives his props for closing the bond and gives a heads up he's leaving the client's mind to head back to the real world. As soon as they're back in the shop, Duan Xiangyu asks the guy to hold on a sec before closing up for the day. Intrigued by the sudden request, Lu Yu turns to ask if the old man needs anything else from the shop. The dean asks if the shopkeeper would be down to join the faculty at the city's Grand Beast Tamer University. Thinking about it, the young guy remembers getting rejected in the exams 2 months ago and is shocked to get a direct invite from the dean. But he politely turns the offer down, saying he'd rather focus on his own pet shop business, and adds that the daily student grind would just mess up the career plans he laid out for his life. Adjusting his glasses, Duan Xiangyu clears up the mix-up, explaining the invite is actually for the guy to take on a professor role. He adds that due to red tape, the shopkeeper could start out acting as an official tutor for the institution first. Lu Yu is mind-blown by the pitch, remembering only sovereign-level warriors are qualified for such a high-status job. Seeing the hesitation, the old man suggests he can negotiate with the other tutors to score a vice-dean spot for the kid, and jokes saying he's even willing to retire early to just hand over the leadership seat at the institution. The MC thinks it'd be a lie to say he wasn't tempted by the offer, but weighs the risks involved in making the move. But then he imagines the position will bring massive prestige to his business, wiping out any worries about selling future pups. Mind made up, Lu Yu accepts the deal as long as the class hours don't clash with his shop's business hours. The dean gets super pumped and agrees to the condition without second-guessing it. He adds that the professor title will give the guy the right to request multi-million coin government science research grants. The shopkeeper gets hyped just thinking about research funds that can easily hit the hundreds of millions mark. He daydreams about the mountain of cash he's gonna rake in between salaries, monthly bonuses, and dividends from the elite university, plus scoring VIP access to a library packed with rare scrolls and the institution's very own secret room. Once outside the shop, the young guy thinks about how crazy life is, turning him into a tutor at the biggest academy in the country. The scene cuts to the massive modern facade of the Tamer University glowing under the moonlight. Leaning on the balcony, Professor Liu Luoshan stares into the night, anxious to know how her dear master's visit to the pet shop went. Suddenly, she spots a weird green flash glowing in the middle of her family's estate courtyard. The woman squints, shocked as she realizes that heavy energy can only be the legendary active evolution light. In the middle of the courtyard, the silver-haired guy finds his younger brother kneeling, messing with a glowing little bug. The blonde kid, Duan Dongwen, reveals he plans to merge his talent's origin straight into the Ant Queen, and confidently explains this mystic fusion will speed up both of their growth rates to an insane degree. The brother anxiously warns that this permanent pact will block him from sealing new contracts, and that the pet dying will strip his tamer powers. But Duan Dongwen smiles, not caring about the risks, claiming he doesn't mind losing his tamer title if his partner drops in combat. Watching the scene from a distance, Professor Liu Luoshan is amazed by the massive determination shown by the young heir. She praises Duan Dongwen's attitude, proud that he's acting like a true and worthy grandson of the dean. Later on, she's walking with her master, asking him to slow down, but the old man replies he's feeling way better thanks to the shopkeeper. The woman's eyes go wide, shook to hear that the old man's spiritual area was completely restored. The dean smiles, confirming the success, and dares his student to guess what miracle method the young Lu Yu used. She sucks her thumb deep in thought, guessing the guy must have offered some ultra-rare high-level healing resource. Laughing at the guess, the master drops the bomb that the kid actually made him form a contract with a colossal tree-type creature. The memory of the massive green trunk spawning in his spiritual space flashes vividly in the old man's mind. He explains the mystic tree stabilized his wrecked world, locking in his hope of getting back to his peak military power. Finally, Duan Xiangyu tells her she doesn't need to stress anymore, because he just scored enough energy to live another 300 years. Happy chatter and clapping from Professor Liu Luoshan, who is absolutely thrilled hearing the updates about the shopkeeper. With that, Dean Duan Xiangyu mentions he gave the kid a special invite to become an official tutor at the prestigious university. Blown away by the reveal, the woman asks with wide eyes if the invite is actually legit. Then the young Duan brothers celebrate, hyped up, demanding right away to sit in on classes and be direct students of the master. Meanwhile, inside his massive taming space, Lu Yu floats peacefully surrounded by his 2 powerful elite monsters. He thinks about how he has 3 insane max-level talents, and using them just to farm energy would be a total waste. So the MC considers fusing each of his special skills straight into the matching beast. One idea is to fuse the demon dragon with his darkness talent, turning his scaly partner into the feared king of the dark underworld. Another route would be merging his imperial bird with the divine fire, pushing the mystic bird to god-destroying levels of power. But the guy realizes his third life talent is still without a partner, deciding it's time to contract a plant pet. Right then, the shopkeeper opens the system interface and is stoked to see he's stacked up over 1,200 reward points. He smiles, super pumped, thinking about redeeming an even more formidable pup than his current 2 squad members. Soon, he decides to pick a plant-type monster to stabilize his massive taming area and combo with his life talent. Quickly, the holographic assistant pops up on the blue screen showing the rare creature options available for that score. The interface lists 4 major sacred tree options, breaking down the legendary potential of each one. The AI explains the elf mother tree can spawn an entire tribe by consuming some rare resources. But the MC scratches his head and trashes the option, figuring breeding a whole race of elves wouldn't be very practical. He checks out the sacred star tree that helps revive the whole planet, but concludes it doesn't have much use for him. Looking at the giant war tree, the guy notices it can spawn armies of aggro monsters right in the middle of a fight. With a frown, the shopkeeper shoots the pick down immediately, thinking that power is way too evil for a righteous gentleman. So the shopkeeper shifts his full attention to the last option on the list, which displays the powerful ancestral tree of life. He notices the plant's presence wipes out any trace of death in the territory, flooding the whole scene with pure vitality. Satisfied it's a perfect match for his special life skill, the guy taps the blue button to redeem the creature. The system confirms the trade and deducts all the points, making the shopkeeper watch the area glow with green energy beams. A mystic dark seed appears floating in the middle of a strong green aura, flexing an immense buildup of life force. Wanting to know the new pet's specs, the MC decides to check out the stats panel for his brand new item. The holographic screen reveals the sprout belongs to the Sacred Spirit class and packs the rare plant and life attributes. Reading the intel, Lu Yu finds out the nutrition talent lets it spawn little monsters totally loyal to him. On top of that, the tree's first active skill can speed up any plant's growth in just a few seconds. His eyes pop when he realizes this divine power will make farming rare fruits that are worth a fortune on the market super easy. He rubs his hands together, insanely hyped, daydreaming about the millions he's gonna rake in selling those mystic fruits. Soon the interface breaks down the tree's second power, which drops a divine territory capable of instantly healing any wound. Tapping the screen, the guy reads about the third projection power that lets the partner fight at full strength outside the taming space. The shopkeeper moves to the last skill called Star Cutting Grass, getting curious about what the attack actually does. The virtual panel explains the move can grow a razor-sharp weed capable of slicing the sun, the moon, and the stars right out of the sky. Impressed by how broken it is, the MC praises the system for delivering such a formidable creature for just 1,200 points. He scratches his head smiling, happy to score an all-in-one partner that acts as support, DPS, and a resource farm. Wasting no time, Lu Yu reaches out with a hand glowing in green light and orders the start of the final contract with the floating seed. Thick beams of green energy wrap the sprout, pushing the plant's growth at spectacular speed. A massive boom echoes through the room when a colossal glowing tree spawns in the middle of the grass in his spiritual area. Suddenly, the young man grabs his chest, startled, feeling a massive wave of power rush through his body without warning. With that, the guy realizes the pact with the sacred tree buffed his strength so much he's about to break a new limit. Right then, a sweet, soft voice calls out to the master, making the guy look around confused to try and pinpoint the sound. A glowing whirlwind of green leaves and petals starts spinning intensely right in front of the dumbfounded MC. A beautiful little girl with white hair and a green dress appears floating in the light, flexing a mystic, angelic vibe. The hero is speechless, staring at the guest, wondering to himself if she might be the physical form of the mystic tree. With that, the interface confirms that Clone packs all the plant's insane skills and can travel freely through the outside world. Pointing at the girl, the MC straight up asks if she's actually his new legendary partner. With a sweet smile, the fairy does a little jump in the air, happily confirming her true identity as the mystic tree. She gently places her hand on her chest and sweetly asks her new master to call her Nyu. The shopkeeper just repeats the nickname, deep in thought, agreeing to accept the young girl as his powerful new squad mate. Suddenly, the girl steps closer and sweetly asks the guy to hold out his hand and point his index finger at her. A tiny thread of green light connects their fingers, sealing a very special mystic pact. The young girl explains excitedly that she'll use this spiritual mark to resurrect the master if he ever ends up in life-threatening danger. The guy is shocked by the revive effect, but the girl clarifies the spell sadly can't recover SSS talents. Hanging her head a bit bummed, she warns that if he bites the dust, the master would probably come back as an ordinary person. With a serious face, the MC reflects that he'd rather stay wiped out than lose his 3 incredible supreme talents. But he quickly puts his ego aside and flashes a smile, accepting the skill as an awesome extra safety net. Lu Yu gives the fairy a light pat on the head, advising her to get used to her powers and promising to prep the seeds the next day. The little girl flashes a huge, ear-to-ear smile and answers with pure joy that she's gonna follow her master's every command. The seller waves from a distance saying bye to Yu, casually letting her know he's already logging out of his spiritual taming area. Super fast, the young girl runs toward him and grabs the edge of the guy's jacket to stop him from leaving so soon. Giving him puppy dog eyes, she asks if her real body can stay in the magic area while her clone travels beside him in the real world. Without hesitating for a second, the shopkeeper cracks a smile and agrees to the idea, saying she can pop in and out whenever. The fairy sighs in relief at her owner's thumbs up, confessing she was scared of getting rejected because she has some slightly weird habits. Lu Yu raises an eyebrow, super confused by the comment, having absolutely zero clue what these habits could be. Hours later, the MC lays down chilling under the covers of his bed to enjoy a well-deserved, peaceful night's sleep. Suddenly, the white-haired girl slides under the blankets right next to him, scaring the crap out of the shopkeeper. He stares at her paralyzed in the dark, instantly realizing the true meaning behind that weird habit. The young fairy confesses with a sad face that she spent millions of years isolated as a basic seed and felt terrible loneliness. Staring at the master with tear-filled eyes, she promises to stay super quiet and begs him not to kick her out. Moved by the young girl's sadness, the guy pets her head gently and guarantees she'll never be lonely again. She smiles, super happy, and hugs her protector's arm tight before finally closing her eyes and falling asleep in peace. The next day dawns sunny outside, lighting up the modern facade of the big apartment complex in the area. Waking up, Lu Yu gasps for air in a panic as he realizes the girl grew and wrapped herself entirely around his body like a vine. Waking up, the guy thrashes around gasping for air under the tight grip and complains he can't take this suffocating situation anymore. Then he manages to sit up and sees the little fairy clinging to his arm, asking what she's doing there. Pacing the room with his partner still hanging on, the little girl asks out of curiosity what the master is up to. So the shopkeeper sits her firmly and safely on the bed to make her let go of his arm once and for all. With that, Lu Yu complains, annoyed, that he told the girl not to move like that since he almost suffocated during the night. Sitting on the edge, the fairy lowers her head full of regret and apologizes for hugging the master so tight without realizing. Giving him the puppy dog eyes, the little girl begs him not to be mad and promises she won't pull that stunt again next time. But the shopkeeper quickly chills out and suggests they hit the taming area to check the ancestral tree's growth up close. Totally hyped about the idea, the little fairy does a happy jump and cheers her master's choice. Scratching his head with worry, the guy wonders if he ended up adopting a plant partner or if he's literally raising a daughter. As soon as they enter the spiritual space, they spot beautiful white flowers that started blooming on the green plain. Looking at the grass, the guy is shocked to see Yu grew 10 stems of cutter grass straight to the 10th transcendent level. He figures that when the ancestral tree ranks up, these star-cutting plants will evolve right along with it. With that, the shopkeeper concludes the attack power of these companion weeds is insanely terrifying for any enemy to face. He proudly evaluates that even his two elite partners would struggle hard to beat this plant squad in battle. Suddenly, multiple purple thorn vines start quickly coiling around the massive trunk of the tree. The vines stretch up toward the sky, flexing sharp claws on their dark leaves. The shopkeeper smiles excitedly, explaining that's the 1,000-star vine, a monster capable of trapping any creature. Then the girl mentions that at her current level she can only grow platinum-rank seeds fast, and higher-tier ones take longer. He pets her head and reassures his partner, saying he can just buy the rare seeds directly with cash. Laughing, the guy asks why they should waste energy on things that can easily be solved with coins. With that, the shopkeeper decides to take the fairy for a walk in the city and sort out the stock issue once and for all. Walking through the busy streets of the massive magic city, they check out several luxury pet shops around them. Peeking at the luxury displays with multi-million price tags, the guy is amazed by the insane variety of rare goods for sale. The little fairy gets scared by the crowd, and Lu Yu tells her to stick real close to his side so she doesn't get lost. Soon they walk into a modern shop that specializes in selling and farming rare seeds and spiritual plants. Looking at the jars, the guy notices the seeds are cheap, but the fully grown seedlings run into the tens of millions. He checks out the little grains and realizes their survival rate is ridiculously low for regular tamers to farm. But he flashes a cocky smile, knowing his partner's divine skill totally wipes out any risk of farming failure. Without hesitating, he decides to buy massive quantities of dark grass, shadow spirit fruit, flame flower, and white spark seeds. On top of that, the shopkeeper points to the shelf and demands 100 seeds of both the legendary hell and purgatory trees. The chubby shop manager bows politely and asks the customer to wait just a sec while he preps the order. Holding a black briefcase, the seller returns and says the total came to 32 million with a solid discount. Taking the chance, the young guy asks if official tutors from the renowned Tamer University get a discount on purchases. The manager confirms the info and asks the guy to show his ID card to apply the discount in the system. No problem, the MC hands over his tutor card so the employee can run a quick background check. The guy slides the ID into the computer under the watchful eyes of the little fairy, who observes everything super quiet next to her master. Seeing on the screen that the customer gets a 50% discount for being a full-time professor, the clerk almost falls over in shock. Sweating from nerves, the employee bows deeply, praising the guy for being an absolute prodigy genius in the taming field. Holding onto the shopkeeper's jacket, the little fairy lifts her head super proud, claiming her master is the most incredible person ever. With a chill smile, the guy just asks him to swipe the card already and wrap up the sale without any more stalling at the counter. He walks toward the exit and thinks about how the dean moved crazy fast to unlock all these awesome professor perks. Suddenly, his partner violently tugs his jacket and says she sensed the energy of an amethyst-rank spiritual seed in the room. The shopkeeper stops in his tracks immediately and turns around, intrigued to find out where this ultra-valuable grain is hiding. Pointing to the wooden shelves in the back, the little girl guides the guy, showing that the treasure must be stashed around there. Digging through an old box, the little girl throws her hands up happily, showing she finally found the item she was looking for. She walks up to the chubby manager and asks out of curiosity how much those 5 shriveled seeds she picked out would cost. The merchant scratches his head worriedly and says he was planning to throw those grains in the trash, asking if she seriously wants to buy them. With a beautiful smile on her face, the little fairy nods, confirming with absolute certainty that she wants to take the items. The man thinks to himself that even though they belong to a rare amethyst-rank spatial tree species, they're dried up and totally useless. The 5 completely shriveled, dark seeds rest dully on the delicate palm of the little girl in the green dress. With that, the chubby manager opens his arms generously and says he's gonna give the grains away for free since they have 0 market value. Skipping with joy, the partner says a massive thanks for the merchant's huge kindness in giving them the gift. The shopkeeper celebrates in his head for scoring seeds equivalent to diamond-level resources entirely for free. Back in the massive spiritual taming space, the duo regroups under the protective shade of the great ancestral tree of life. Holding all the bags they bought, the guy swears the next step now is to plant every single one of those grains in the green soil. Instantly, the ground starts glowing brightly with green energy that makes beautiful, rare flowers bloom across the lawn. He watches the accelerated growth and concludes happily that the tree's divine skill will make harvesting the fruit super fast. With that, the young guy figures he'll have infinite resources to feed and buff his other 2 monsters without spending a dime. But the shopkeeper stops his train of thought when he hears a noise coming from the shop's entrance and asks if someone's out there. At that moment, the shopkeeper squints in surprise at the glass door, realizing his first customer of the day just walked in. A young guy in glasses and a jacket timidly enters the shop, thinking to himself that he finally awakened his talent. He reflects with sheer determination that he'd even sell his own house if he found a pet creature that truly caught his eye. With a welcoming gesture, the MC flashes a warm smile and welcomes the new customer who just arrived. The guy with glasses looks around nervously and shyly asks if the young shopkeeper is really the owner of the place. Confirming with a nod, the seller asks kindly what kind of animal the guy is looking to buy. The customer details he has a rank C skill, and that's why he wants a plant-type pup or one with a life-focused attribute. Giving a confident smile, the shopkeeper raises his hand and spawns a small glass jar holding a glowing green sprout. The guy with glasses reaches out, impressed by the speed, and asks if he really has the right pet in that container. The little jar displays a delicate green leaf floating in the water, giving off a soft, mysterious blue glow throughout the glass. Suddenly, the customer yells furiously, calling it a joke, thinking the shopkeeper is trying to scam him with basic trash. He points his finger, accusing the guy of trying to sell a regular willow sprout as if it were a combat pet. Keeping the absolute utmost chill, the seller guarantees that special plant packs the ultra-rare mutant gift of refining blood. He goes on to explain the sprout can absorb other beasts' DNA to unlock extraordinary evolutionary paths. The guy in glasses crosses his arms, completely speechless, admitting to himself he's never heard of a talent so apocalyptic. Lu Yu warns with total calm that he doesn't have time to waste, stating the willow sprout costs 3 million and tells the customer to leave if he doesn't want to buy. Hearing that, the guy in glasses screams in rage that it's an absurd scam and threatens to report the shop straight to the Beast Tamer Association. To defend the shop owner, the MC's imposing black dragon suddenly spawns and lets out a terrifying roar right at the entitled customer. Even while dying of fear from the giant beast, the man tries to keep his tough guy act up and yells he won't be intimidated by any threats from this shop. Unable to handle the pressure anymore, the coward runs desperately out the front door, swearing the shopkeeper is gonna pay big time for this. Watching the customer's pathetic getaway, Lu Yu just sighs that people in this city can't recognize top-tier merchandise. Holding the little jar with the plant sprout, he hopes such a rare and valuable creature won't end up rotting in his hands for lack of a buyer. He remembers the system set a strict one-week deadline to sell the pet, getting worried about what will happen if nobody shows up in the next few days. So the shopkeeper places the little plant pot on the counter to get a better look at the condition of that super special green sprout. Holding a small vial of red elixir, the hero plans to ask Director Duan or Luo Tianyan for help if the sale really tanks this week. Very carefully, the guy drops a few droplets of that mysterious red liquid straight onto the leaves of the little sprout in the pot. Soaking up the powerful essence instantly, the plant sprout starts radiating a strong glowing energy while the shopkeeper guarantees a massive future for the pet. The scene suddenly shifts to the imposing, modern headquarters of the Beast Tamer Association, standing out bright against the sunny sky. Fueled by rage, the runaway customer slams his hand hard on the reception desk, demanding to file a formal complaint using his own name to ruin Lu Yu's shop. Very calm at her workstation, the receptionist straightens up and asks politely who the person is that he wants to report. The customer yells angrily at the clerk, claiming the shop is a scam, charges insanely marked up prices, and treats customers like garbage. Keeping her professional vibe, the worker hands him a form and politely asks him to fill out the info and wait in the lobby. Holding the papers with an evil smirk, the man swears to himself he'll do whatever it takes to watch the MC's business go bankrupt once and for all. The scene shifts, showing the imposing, quiet wooden door of the office of one of the Grand Association's supervising directors. Inside the room, the secretary walks in holding a clipboard and calls her boss to hand over some new paperwork. She seriously informs the boss that a citizen just filed a formal complaint using his real name against a local business. Holding the document, Supervisor Luoya reads the papers and instantly realizes the business named in the complaint sounds super familiar. The report highlights that the main target of the complaint is exactly the famous Mythical beast shop, leaving the man shocked. He recalls that just yesterday, Dean Duan personally came to the HQ asking the association to take extra good care of the kids' shop. Sweating from nerves at the memory, the supervisor remembers the dean rated the place as the best in the entire city and demanded total protection. Slamming his hand on the desk with extreme violence, the boss stands up furious, wanting to know what ignorant fool decided to cause problems for him. The director walks fast down the halls toward reception, where the guy in the jacket is waiting, chilling on one of the couches. Approaching the guy in glasses who's waiting there, the supervisor greets him with a very firm, serious stance. He asks straight up if the citizen is actually the one who filed the formal complaint against the Mythical beast shop. The customer stands up smiling arrogantly and demands the process be handled quickly to stop that supposed scammer from polluting the market anymore. Supervisor Luoya clarifies that the beast's condition and the shop's rep are flawless, and that even Dean Duan highly praised the place. With a threatening glare, the association boss asks firmly if that complaint is just a false accusation on the guy's part. Completely shook finding out the shopkeeper has such powerful friends, the guy in glasses doesn't know how to react in front of the director. Sweating cold bullets, the accuser stammers a lot and tries to apologize, saying maybe he made a mistake and he'd rather drop the complaint immediately. The supervisor points his finger, warning that false reports get you 3 days in holding, but he'll let it slide only because it's the guy's first strike. Shaking with terror, the slanderer bows deeply, agreeing with the lesson, and swears up and down hell never do anything that's stupid again. Wasting not a single second more, the coward runs out holding his stuff to escape the association's supervisor's relentless fury. Supervisor Luoya gets lost in thought and considers taking his own son to visit the MC's shop, since it comes highly recommended. The scene shifts quickly to the busy streets of the Grand Magic City, where the sun shines bright, lighting up the modern district's buildings. Walking slowly down the sidewalk, the young girl drags her suitcase, feeling sorry for herself for being a failure and not doing anything right in life. She remembers sadly failing her college entrance exam, not awakening any talent, and even seeing her own mother steal her paycheck. The painful memory flashes her furious mom screaming about the sacrifices of raising her, demanding how the daughter plans to pay the bills working so little. Overcome by deep sadness from her mom's harsh words, the girl stops dead in her tracks, having zero strength left to keep going. She keeps walking at a slow pace down the avenue's sidewalk as she spots the grand entrance to the city's Tamer University. Before leaving for good, the young girl feels a deep urge to step into the famous academy's courtyard just to get one last look. Blocking the girl from entering the university, the security guard bluntly states that people who aren't students are totally banned from coming inside. Walking away from there looking down, the girl cries, lamenting that she can't even fulfill one tiny wish to visit because she's completely useless. Wandering aimlessly on the city sidewalks, the girl ends up walking past the MC's humble shop, where she spots a small pot on the table. Intrigued by the green object resting outside the business, the young girl stops in her tracks and focuses on the little plant. She slowly steps closer, wondering why she can feel an invisible magic resonance coming straight from that little willow sprout. Inside the shop, the MC relaxes, laying comfortably on his couch, having no clue someone is checking out the pot outside. He thinks deeply about how the plant sprout's price ended up scaring off dozens of potential buyers over the last 2 days. The shopkeeper scratches his head, admitting that charging a crazy $3 million for a basic willow sprout really sounds like total market insanity. He gets worried thinking the rare item might just end up rotting on the shelves and dealing a massive financial blow to his business. Looking toward the front glass window, the guy notices the silhouette of the mystery girl who's still standing there staring at the little plant pot. Fascinated by the little sprout, the young girl whispers to herself about how plant-type beasts are super rare and hard to find in stores. A gold and red energy wraps around the girl's hands out of nowhere, while the mystic sprout starts glowing, reacting to her presence. The shopkeeper walks out of the shop and tells the plant in a friendly tone that it looks like nobody wants anything to do with it, catching the distracted girl's attention. The sprout begins glowing with an intense red light, making the girl ask in shock if the creature can actually understand what she says. Lu Yu slowly approaches the customer and politely asks if she really likes that little willow sprout sitting on the table. Startled by the shopkeeper's sudden appearance, the young girl spins around quickly and tries to apologize, stuttering that she was just looking at the pot. In a super friendly tone of voice, the manager explains he's the owner and gives her special permission to touch the sprout's leaves. The girl's eyes light up with joy hearing the generous offer, and she asks in surprise if she can really touch the valuable magic creature. As soon as the young girl reaches out her fingers and gently touches the plant's leaves, an explosion of bright, pure energy sparks fills the area. Feeling the physical touch, the girl realizes in awe that the hidden mystic resonance from earlier just got infinitely clearer and sharper. The MC watches the scene, satisfied, figuring the spiritual compatibility between that young girl and the willow sprout is off the charts. Flashing a confident smile, the guy asks if the little plant monster is trying to beam some message straight into her mind. Surprised by the strong signal, the girl reveals the little sprout is actively begging to make a fusion pact with her soul. In his head, Lu Yu celebrates nailing the guess, confirming that girl is the perfect owner to lead the plant's growth. The seller suggests she test it right now and try feeding the creature just a single drop of her own blood to lock in the contract. Panicking at the idea, the young girl instantly refuses, claiming that tainting the plant with the blood of useless trash like her will make the pet unsellable. The guy taps his chest, guaranteeing that since he's the absolute boss of the shop, the rules are his, and tells the girl to just give the practical test a shot. Faced with the shopkeeper's gentle and genuine pushing, the young girl caves and agrees to try the spiritual fusion process with the sprout. Without hesitating, she brings her index finger to her mouth and bites the tip slightly to draw the drop of blood needed for the mystic pact. The young girl then lets the blood drip onto the plant. With that, the little willow sprout absorbs the drop of blood and begins glowing brightly, giving off a strong green energy. Satisfied, the young girl watches the little plant grow right in front of her eyes and cheers that it actually developed. Right then, Lu Yu steps up and suggests she has an affinity with the sprout, asking if she doesn't want to buy the pet. But she looks away awkwardly and shyly confesses she doesn't have any cash on her right now to close the deal, and that she didn't even manage to awaken her beast tamer talent, which completely stops her from signing a contract with the pet. At that, the MC guarantees money isn't an issue and asks if she's absolutely sure she has zero aptitude. So she just stares back at him with a confused look, unable to grasp what the guy is trying to hint at. Suddenly, a drop of blood splatters onto the plant's leaf, making it glow with a heavy red aura. With that, having no clue what's going down, she gets chills and gets startled by the sudden shift in that little sprout. Instantly, a colossal explosion of red flames and mystic energy wraps the girl's body in a glowing whirlwind. Shocked, she notices a mark has appeared on her forehead, revealing she just awakened the rare rank S immortal blood talent.